Well, the final day of Gamescom is here. We'll be watching the Xbox at Gamescom Day 3 live stream. We see the schedule. There should be Indiana Jones. There should be Avowed. We did see an interview from the Iron Lords with the guys from the team at Avowed, and they have said that it will be a 30 FPS game, even sort of saying that in a single-player first-person RPG, you don't really need 60 FPS, which I guess if that's a reason that you might say that's a reason. I don't know if that's a good reason. It sounds very similar to, you know, when we heard that Starfield and Hellblade 2 and Redfall were all not going to be at 60. They were all interesting reasons given, and so we'll see if they say anything more about that today, and see if we get any more gameplay looks. Just continuing to feel that, you know, the quiet part won't really ever get said out loud about Xbox titles and why they launch the way that they do. That they have fundamentally hamstrung their entire generation with the Xbox Series S, and their first-party studios continue to have to walk out their products and make up incredibly strange reasons why they can't hit 60 FPS. I have not seen anything in Avowed that justifies that. I have not seen anything in the Avowed gameplay that would make sense as to why it would be a 30 FPS game. Just like when we saw the Redfall footage, just like when I talked about how Starfield did not seem to be a game that would struggle to hit 60. And here we are. Starfield got a 60 FPS update. So did Redfall. And all those reasons and all that justification back then, that basically means then they were not telling the truth, or they were just blowing smoke, which is likely what is going on with Avowed. So we'll find out shortly if they decide to speak straight with the company, with the public. We know that Xbox isn't very good at that, and so we probably won't get any straight answers today either. And if I sound irritating, it's because I am. It's just another reason that my Series X doesn't really serve a purpose. You know, another game coming out that I will have zero interest in playing on my Series X, because, you know, 30 FPS, and I will enjoy watching people try to defend it being at 30 FPS. That'll be interesting. It's been interesting watching how many times a year people have to break their back, you know, contorting themselves and flipping and bending over backwards to defend something that I don't think is defendable. I don't think it's defensible. I think it's ridiculous. The art director said 30 FPS was the goal from the beginning. When and where? And does that make it okay? Like, what in the world? Like, that doesn't make it okay. I've not seen anything from their art direction. I've not seen anything from their trailers. I've not seen anything from their gameplay that would justify that decision. I'll call that what that is. That's a stupid decision, and I'll tell you what, it's probably not true. It's probably not true. We were told it was a creative decision with Starfield, and then we found out the truth. No, it's totally possible. You know? We were told with Hellblade, yeah, it's not really possible, all the lighting and all the graphics. And it's like, okay, how long before Hellblade 2 gets a 60 FPS update, right? How many times are we going to get given totally bogus, made-up reasons as to why games are launching with old-gen performance, and how many times are we going to have to be told that to believe it? He said it in the podcast. Oh, you're saying he said from the beginning they were targeting 30 FPS? No disrespect to that person. I don't know who he is. I don't believe him. Yeah, I don't believe him. I think that's not true. I don't think that that's true at all. Or he's saying that because from the very beginning they realized they were going to have to target 30 FPS on the Series S. You know, since that console continues to have issues with performance. I mean, I don't know. Maybe anything they're trying to do with the lighting, shadows, textures, you know, graphical fidelity, you know, it is Unreal, I believe. It's the Unreal Engine, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell anybody anymore. It's going to be real interesting when games start launching multiplat. I'm very interested about that. Like when Blade finally shows up and is multiplat, you know. The good news that we have heard about performance coming out of Gamescom is that Stalker 2 will run at 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X. So, hilarious how this entire year we've had to hear that PlayStation doesn't have any games because all of their games are not first-party studios. And the only seemingly seems like one of the only games to launch this year on Xbox, you know, as an exclusive with 60 FPS is not a first-party studio. Oh, how the turntables. Good night. If the ads take away from performance, then they need to be scaled down. They chose early into dev to do 30, which is nuts. Yeah, I don't know what to tell. I don't even know what to say anymore. Yo, it's good, Gritter. 60 FPS doesn't mean anything if the game runs at native 720 like Wuchang. It also has input lag due to frame gen and stutter. Well, I don't think Wuchang is a good game to reference because Black Myth Wukong is a 30 FPS game. And they are using frame gen to double the frames, which is not what frame gen is meant to do. So you're not even playing a 60 FPS game. So I don't think that's a good example. I also don't think there are examples of games doing that. Can you point me to the games that are giving you 60 and they run terribly because of it? I mean, Jedi Survivor was that way, but then they had to fix performance mode, and that was not indicative of 60 FPS being the problem. It was because of things they were doing with the lighting. They fixed it, and the game clearly launched before it was ready. I don't understand that at all my Series S hit 60. There have been plenty of games that have struggled to consistently hit 60 on the Series S, and a lot of the times in order to hit 60 on the Series S, they have to lower the resolution significantly or run dynamic resolution. Like, there are games over there running like dynamic 1080 in order to hit 60. So it's quite possible that you're just going to keep running into this. You're going to keep running into developers that are like, we just couldn't make that a priority because they had to make sure the game was, you know, shippable and runnable on the Series S. And I just think we're going to continue to be here. It's a freaking joke. It shouldn't even be a conversation. There should be no hand waving. There should be no justification. There should be no defense of it. The way the Xbox Series X and the way the Xbox Series S were marketed is nothing more than a lie at this point. There is no truth. There is no truth in that marketing at all. There isn't. They straight up lied to the public. It's why they privated the video. I mean, I don't even... There's no reason to even be nice about it anymore. Xbox now has nothing more than a... This gen is nothing more than just a history of lies. Lies and false promises. You know? They have not yet climbed out of that pit, and I don't know if they ever will. I don't know if they ever will. They made terrible decisions with their hardware, and we're all reaping the benefits. Yo, John, always with a gifted member. Thank you so much. You guys hit the stretch goal for the week. You hit that stretch goal for the week that Madam has to continue her Destiny journey tonight. Here, let me switch the audio. Was an utter disaster. They sold it on consoles where it didn't even run properly. It was so bad that it was removed from the PlayStation Store. Wukong certainly has its issues with performance, but it's nowhere near the absolute and utter disaster that Cyberpunk was at launch. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Will Starfield be 4K 60 on the PS5? Maybe the PS5 Pro, but not the PS5.
It's day 3 of our live coverage of Xbox Gamescom 2024, and there's so many games to talk about, Charlie, so let's dive in. Let's get stuck in. We have games on games on games on games, including Metaphor ReFantazio, the newest game from the minds behind Persona 3, 4, and 5. We're going to catch up with the team crafting the game and some of the iconic voices who bring it to life. And then after that, we're going to be discovering what it takes to survive a plague of corrupting souls with Avowed, and then play as damned souls in 33 Immortals, which should be a great time. Sounds like a lovely time, but now it's time to throw it over to Bex with one of the most anticipated games of the year.
Well, if like us, you have been humming the Indiana Jones theme since this next game was announced, then you just might be as excited as I am right now. Here to reveal as much as I can possibly pry out of them about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, please welcome Machine Games Design Director Jens Anderson and Creative Director Axel
Guys, as you're coming in, quickly smash that like button. Thanks for being here. Last day of Gamescom coverage.
Be here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here with you and talking about indie. Shall we dive into it?
Please.
First question I want to ask you guys. Obviously, this film franchise is incredibly iconic. And how did the game come about for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit surreal, right? We've been pinching ourselves throughout production. Is this happening? But it is, I promise. And so it all starts with, Todd Howard had been this, long-term vision and dream and ambition to do a new, interesting Indiana Jones game. He had the opportunity to pitch his core idea from a narrative point of view to Lucasfilm Games. They were also very excited about it. Then Todd took the project to Machine Games, checking in, I think you're a good fit as a studio to do this, and you can imagine the screams of joy within the halls of Machine Games as we were giving the opportunity to work on it. So we are super thrilled.
Super thrilled indeed. I mean, thinking about how big it is and how excited you guys are, the thrill of that must be quite a feat to work with and develop as well. So how is the game prioritizing all of Indiana Jones's adventure from the films into the game?
It's really about putting you into the shoes of Indiana Jones, like allowing you to play out this fantasy. What would you do as Indiana Jones? And with that obviously comes the iconic whip, being able to solve mysteries, escape traps, and doing all these things that we know and love from this iconic hero.
Absolutely. I mean, I probably wouldn't choose the right chalice, but hopefully everything else in the game I'll have correct. It'll be fine. Speaking about the game then, let's talk about what the combat and maybe exploration will look like in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
So it all comes back to the character, what could you do? So combat, compared to, we come from a background of working on Wolfenstein for a really long game, like big, double-wielding shotguns. This game is not that. This is much more adventure-focused game. So that means exploring more open-ended environments, having proper puzzles into the game that's challenging for the player to solve without you getting stuck, being able to scale the environment using your whip, but also, the combat. Like Indy is known for his knuckle-busting, brawler-style combat, so punching enemies in the face or even picking up a banjo and smashing them over the head. It's all about trying to recreate that really almost comedic matinee-style adventure.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, he is an archaeologist, but not quite BJ, but he does a good job with what's around him. Can't wait to get into that. Speaking of utilizing the environment, can we talk about the puzzles that we'll see in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle as well?
Absolutely. This is one of the kind of new type of features that we haven't done so much with before at Machine Games. So that was a really interesting challenge. And as I mentioned, we want to make real puzzles. We want you to be this kind of professor, archaeologist. So there's a lot of games, big games out there that kind of dumb down the puzzles for the sake of just making sure the player gets the full experience. We have tried really hard to just make them exciting to explore and build all these systems, like we have the camera and the journal to help you through the puzzle. You get to investigate and discover, and if you still do get stuck, you have the camera, you can pick it up, you can snap a photo of the puzzle, and Indy will provide a little clue what you need to do. You can take another one if you get deeper, so you don't have to go off to YouTube to see the solution.
Nice.
It's also extremely important to try to hit the sweet spot of making sure that we have these complicated puzzles from a game mechanic point of view, but we also need to make sure that they feel like they fit within the environments, like it's an actual part of this ancient temple that you have discovered, but there's a contextual sense to it. So there's many different components, but we feel that we are in a very, very good sweet spot at the moment where it sits.
I believe in you too. I can't wait to see them. Speaking about ancient temples and things, obviously we see a whole bunch of iconic and interesting locations that Indy gets to travel to across the films too. whereabouts in the game will us players get to explore and discover?
Yeah, so we have the base narrative and the core story is already, it makes sure that we put the player on a global adventure. We get to visit a lot of different locations. The reasoning behind some of these locations is a twofold reason. One is, of course, that it fits the narrative, the story that we want to tell. The other one is also to make sure that we introduce new, interesting, exciting environments throughout the full campaign. So you will get this dynamic pacing of, wow, a jungle, a desert, mountains, you know. So we're really trying to make sure that that balance and that contrast feels exciting and thrilling at all times.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, a lot of us, I'm sure, me especially, I'm very excited to get my hands on that whip and take that out for a spin. Is there anything you want to share just now about whip wielding and how that can be used within the game too?
It's such an important feature. Like it's iconic for the character. So from day one, it's been, you know, incredibly important to get right. And we've had, you know, super talented engineers and animators working really hard to get, you know, the feeling of it feeling right. Like there's a mix of simulation, physical simulation in there. There's a mix of animation that takes over that allows you to do all these things that we want to do. You can, you know, attach it to things in the environment, pull them, use it to scale walls. It's also a combat tool, so really being able to use primarily as an entry point to combat is a very good use of the whip. You can use it to disarm someone, so you can turn around and then use it to pull an enemy into what we call clinch, so you can punch them. You know, it's a very versatile tool, and getting that to feel right has taken a lot of work. We have the audio part of it. We actually
super important.
Yeah.
It's such an iconic part of Indiana Jones' character. So the amount of work from broad spectrum within the team that's been working on it and, you know, working hard to make sure that it is where it is today, it's been not an easy task.
We even brought in experts, like we went to visit the Swedish bullwhip champion yeah. And, you know, our audio team went there and rigged mics and everything so we could get the sound just right and see how it's actually being used. Oh
gosh, that must have been quite the day. I love that. Can't wait for that part personally. So let's talk about what it was like working with Lucasfilm. Obviously, absolutely synonymous with Indiana Jones and a lot of amazing IPs. What can fans expect in terms of authenticity in your game?
A lot. So speaking to the point of working together alongside with Lucasfilm Games has been extremely, you know, valuable and appreciated. We have been on a constant iterative basis with them, basically a weekly turn. We've been in contact with them. They are the experts of the IP, they are the experts of the franchise. So seeking their guidance sometimes and making sure that we are on the right path has been invaluable and, you know, a really good experience. And speaking to what fans can expect, you know, there are two sides to that. For people that are fans of the franchise and fans of Indiana Jones, this is absolutely your fix. This is your Indiana Jones fix, right? But when it comes to, and it's a, you know, might sound weird, there are people out there that do not know who Indiana Jones is. We are capturing them also, because at the heart and at the core of Indiana Jones and the franchise is a fantastic world of deep narrative and a great adventure. So there is something for everyone in there.
Amazing. I can't wait. That sounds so good. Well, guys, I would love to know if there are any parts of the film that you also emulate in the game, or if you could maybe share us a little bit of Easter eggs if you have any.
Well, it wouldn't be a proper Easter egg if we spoiled it ahead of launch, so you have to play it for yourself. But as Axel said, there's a wealth of indie trivia and you know, lots of really cool things to discover in the game. So,
if you know type thing.
You will
Yes.
not be disappointed if you're into that.
Amazing. Well, guys, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Finally, last question. When can we get our hands on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?
December 9.
Okay, Christmas wish list sorted
Yes.
then. Very good and very nice. Jens, Axel, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Gamescom. It's been such a pleasure chatting all things indie. I
Thanks.
shall don my hat now as well. I think that's only right. And remember, you can pre-order your copy of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle ready for December 9th. Excitement has been building for this next RPG since it was announced back in 2016. Now, this brainchild of some of the minds behind the Persona series is nearly ready to launch. Enjoy this look at Metaphor ReFantazio.
Only the one who has earned the people's support is fit to be king.
People may struggle to trust a king whose face they do not know.
I want to protect this country and its people.
The city of Rhylehaven.
If you get rid of the culprit, I will appeal to the people of this town to support you.
More public support, bigger face on the rock.
Traveling from one nation to another, well, there's all sorts of life-threatening danger on the way.
Can you smell it? There's change in the air.
Yeah, that's interesting elsewhere. I didn't even catch the fact that they didn't mention Game Pass. They just stressed that you could pre-order Indiana Jones. That's interesting.
You dreamt of utopia. You saw the tribes united as one.
There are a lot of people in the crowd who have never supported you. How are you going to respond to them?
ゲームズコムにご来場の皆さん、こんにちは。メタファーリファンタジオディレクターの橋野桂です。本日はご参加いただきありがとうございます。ただいま2024年10月11日の世界同時リリースに向けて最終調整に挑んでおり、現地へ行くことができずとても残念です。今日は私からこれまで皆さんからいただいている応援コメントや感想とともに本作の魅力をいくつかご紹介させていただきます。まずは皆様にご注目いただいている本作のあらすじについてです。メタファーは本作の舞台であるユークロニア王国の王が殺されるところから物語が始まります。この世界では王族や権威のある人物が王になることが主流でしたが、突如国民から最も人気を得た人物が次の王になることができるという王選挙魔法が発動され、物語が大きく進んでいきます。現代風に言えば選挙のようなものでしょうか。主人公は王を目指し旅をします。いろいろな場所に赴き、さまざまな人々と出会い成長を重ねます。もちろん主人公以外にもさまざまな種族。
Thank you guys for the gifted members. Mike on the mic gifted a member, and Joker Quinn, and John Always. I forgot to say it, man. John Always did the first one. Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you so much, guys, for continuing to gift the members. You already hit the stretch goal for the week. You are going to get some more Madam playing through her journey in Destiny 2 tonight.
ユーザーの皆様からは主人公が王を目指す道中で楽しめる旅体験への高い関心を寄せていただいています。今作はさまざまな経験や出会いが主人公の王の資質を成長させます。どんな行動も無駄にはならず主人公の成長につながる、これは非常に重要なポイントです。凱旋者での移動の最中、仲間とチェスのようなゲームを楽しむこんな何気ない仲間との交流からも 主人公は王に一歩近づくことになります。また舞台であるユークロニア王国のさまざまなロケーションにも多くのご注目をいただいています。旅の道中で訪れる街や雄大な自然では多彩なアクティビティを体験することができます。モンスター退治のサブクエストはもちろん、ある街ではクリフダイビングを楽しむことも可能です。メインストーリーを進めると後から開放されるアクティビティもありますので、プレイヤーの皆さんはぜひいろいろな場所を巡っていただけると嬉しいです。それらゲームの中での選択一つ一つが
Yo, a 5 bomb comes in from Wired Rope. Thank you so much.
つながります。どのような日々を過ごすのかはプレイヤーの皆さん次第です。さまざまな楽しみ方ができるようこだわって作っていますので、ぜひ楽しみにお待ちいただけると幸いです。そして予約購入をしていただくと冒険をより楽しむための豪華な特典がゲットできますので、ぜひ事前予約をしてください。最後に本作の特徴を一つお話しします。メタファーでは会話中プレイヤーが選んだ選択肢を主人公がボイス付きで喋ります。これは私がこれまでに作ってきたペルソナ5などの作品よりもさらに主人公に個性を与えたかったためです。プレイしていくうちに親近感と愛着が増していただけるようこだわって作りました。ぜひ新たな主人公を愛していただけると大変嬉しく思います。それでは Xbox チームにお戻しします。ありがとうございました。
We've just heard from the developers. Now let's meet some of the voices of Metaphor ReFantazio. Joining me now are Kristen Atherton and Stuart Clark. Thanks so much for joining us here at Gamescom. How are you finding it so far?
Oh, mate, it's been overwhelming in the best possible way. Like, I've never been to an event like this, which it's like gaming theme park.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like every area is themed. I'm looking at the World of Warcraft section now, and it's just like it looks like this themed attraction. People are queuing. They've got incredible rides. There's games. Like I just want to go out and explore. Like as soon as this is done, I just want to go and I want to find some cool things to go experience.
I mean, you walk in for the first time and it's just, you almost want to just stand and take it in. It's just a spectacle.
Yeah.
And people walking around in costumes, you know, I want to stop every single person and go, you look incredible. Wait, you look incredible. It's such a wonderful atmosphere. We're having such a brilliant time.
Yeah, it's one of the best things, just wandering around the booth, seeing all the games. But let's talk about your game, because both of you play some incredible characters, right, in the game. Stuart, do you want to start off with who you're playing and tell us about your character?
I can totally start, yeah. Okay, so I play Leon Stroll, he is your first ally. He is your brother in arms, your ride or die, your main man, your special dude. I'm running out of ways to describe it, but he is like your first and foremost. Runs in very early. He is like a country noble who, basically, he's a man of the people. He's got this idealized version of what a noble should be, how a noble should act, how they should interact with the world, and it's an idealism that isn't always matched by the world that he exists within, and he butts up against that a lot. And I think it's so refreshing for him to find the protagonist and for them to share this kind of forged in fire experience early on, where they find that their ideals align and their motivations align, and he is able to join him as that first ally. Like his mouth gets ahead of him sometimes.
Yeah.
He's forthright. He will if he doesn't like you, he'll tell you. And if there's a grudge, he's going to keep that grudge. But if you're on the right side of him, he is your best friend.
It sounds like everyone needs a Stroll in their life.
I think so. I think
I agree.
Kristen, what about your character?
Well, if you need a Stroll, you certainly need a Hulkenberg. Iselin Hulkenberg is, she was a knight originally, and she was the bodyguard of the royal family, the prince, and she sort of carries this extraordinary sense of honor and of her duty to the royal family. And when we meet her, she has this enormous wound because she was not able to protect the royal family in their hour of need. And so when we meet her, you get a feeling of she needs to redeem herself. You know, she needs to prove that she is the great knight, the great warrior, and she has your back. She is front and center. You want Hulkenberg to be fighting your corner. She takes herself very, very seriously. She's maybe not the person you want to play a practical joke on, because she will not get it. However, you do want to go to a bar with her and eat some weird food, because she likes her weird food.
Weird? What kind of weird food are we talking about?
I mean, I don't want to drop any spoilers, but basically...
Huge spoilers. Huge spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Hulkenberg's cuisine.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin her maybe one joke of the entire game, but yeah, she will eat what pretty much no one else will eat.
That is fair enough. It's pretty much me at Gamescom. I was just going like, oh, what have we got? Like, going around the town.
Yeah.
But one of the hardest things I find when with any prep for building these characters is, what are you given beforehand? Are you shown like images? Are you kind of given extra details so that when you're going to build this character...
Guys, thanks so much for being here. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Let's try to get 200 likes on the video. I'm really hoping for the Avowed interview to delve into why the game is 30 FPS. We probably won't get that, though.
Where you are in the recording process when the game's being developed. So it might be that you come in further along, and there's so many assets. You can see full cutscenes. You're getting a full rendition of the world, or it can go completely the other way, and you're basically performing to an Excel spreadsheet, and everything is having to be conjured by your brain. I think with this one, it was sort of an in-betweeny stage where, when we started the project, there was very little. There was like nothing to go on. I remember Scott, the localization director, was sort of describing these things, describing humans, human monsters, and I was like, okay, yeah, right, I get it. Do you get that? Yeah, yes, Stu, yeah, I get it. I didn't really get it. But then the assets start coming in, and you start seeing these animatics, these cutscenes. There we go, there's one. And you start to see the scale. You start to understand, like, oh, wow, this is not what I pictured. These are not traditional monsters. This is not a traditional fantasy world. It's when the assets did start coming in, and especially when we started dubbing cutscenes and stuff like that, then I started to go, oh, this is different. This is like a different experience, fantasy-wise, to anything that I've done before.
A lot of the monsters, they're almost like Hieronymus Bosch kind of, creations. They look sort of beautiful and terrifying at the same time. I don't know about you, when I auditioned for Hulkenberg, I was given, this is what she looks like, and a lot of kind of descriptive, kind of characteristics. And very quickly, I look at that and go, well, I look nothing like that. So you have to really imagine, you have to pretend every time you're in the booth. One of my directions was, you've got a six-pack on, your armor is a six-pack. And, I'm a sweet little English rose, so stuff like that helps me massively.
No, it must be a lot of fun, though, getting into those roles, because they're, like, as you said, such different characters to what you've done in the past.
Yes, 100%. There are a couple of moments in the game that are huge battles, especially for a character like Hulkenberg, and I'm quite an extra performer. I like going big, and a lot of the directions that I kept being given was, Kristen, you're very good at fighting these battles. Things hurt less. Do less. There are a couple of moments, again, I don't want to spoil, big dramatic moments where I was screaming, and the performance directors are going, Kristen, less.
It's always said, though, it's better to go less than be like, oh, more. Because 100%. That's what one of the things I've always seen is, like, if you've got more, you can kind of like take that step back and kind of get what you are after.
Yeah, good point. I didn't get any do less direction. So what I'm hearing is that Stroll feels every attack, and he feels it a lot. The Hulkenberg can like take it, and Stroll is like, oh gosh.
Badass. Needs work.
Also, with it like being a voice recording and going and voice work, when you're going into that and you're kind of prepping to do the recordings, because like even backstage we're doing like little warm-ups in the morning, like with like the whole Xbox team that are doing the hosting, like doing like red lorry, yellow lorry, green lorry, like bite my burger, all this like stupid stuff. Right, is there anything particularly you were doing to get yourself into the like kind of like mindset before recording, or like any prep?
Okay, less of a vocal exercise, but I tell you what I did do throughout the recording process was that the studio was a little bit outside of London, so I always had a train journey to go. And I played through the entire of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on my Switch because it just got me in that kind of RPG mindset of like listening to other voice actors, enjoying what they're doing, feeling inspired, and getting me in that zone. So that was kind of my prep. It was more of a mental prep of just like getting you into the world of like fantasy, JRPG, that kind of thing. I found that actually really, really helped me.
Yeah.
No.
I like to listen to computer game soundtracks when I'm on my way. You know, it's very tempting. You're walking around, you know, South London, and you hear this epic music in your ears, and you're like, I am a warrior. Yes, all of you should fear me. And actually, as soon as you take the music out, you're like, I am not fearsome or scary. But yeah.
Honestly, it's been so much fun, like just kind of like seeing how you approach these characters in the world, and I can't wait to play the game myself as well. So thank you so much for both of you coming and joining us, and like finding about the process and hearing about your characters. And a big thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Gamescom and get a chance to go around the booth as well. So remember as well, the epic story of Metaphor ReFantazio unfolds when the game launches October 11th. So check out the pre-order and get ready for the adventure. But coming up, the team from 33 Immortals stopped by to help us join the rebellion in this unique 33-player co-op.
I'm actually really, I'm really interested in the in 33 Immortals. Yeah, I always feel bad a little bit for both the host. I think this guy's doing a great job with what he's being given, but I also feel bad for the voice actors. Like, I don't think it makes for great interviews. I think people want to hear about the game. I think they want to hear about the mechanics and, you know, the gameplay, not like, well, what was the process that went into your voice acting? Like, I find that interesting. I've interviewed voice actors before. I, you know, struck up sort of a friendship with the voice actor for Maya from Borderlands, and we had conversed at a couple of things and then followed each other on Twitter, and then I had her on a podcast and was super, you know, interested in her craft and like what she did. But a lot of times people just don't care about that. They're more interested in the game. So, you know, I find that kind of thing interesting, but I think a lot of people are like, yo, can you tell us about the game? You know, the mechanics and the gameplay and everything else. And, you know, so I don't think it ends up landing very well. So hopefully we can get some more details from like 33 Immortals and Avowed, and obviously Squirrel with the gun looks hilarious. I feel like they got some traction, maybe even got some funding, because like it looks like their game has come a long way from whenever I first saw it a couple of years ago. Their marketing seems to have also gotten a little bit of extra. So they did a funny trailer the other day. It was pretty well done. It's pretty well put together. And yeah, so make sure you guys are smashing the like button, man. We've had a huge week. I appreciate you tuning in every single day to spend your time with me as we watch these events. And this is gonna be the last day. And then I will be on Pure Dead Gaming later with Donnie. I believe it'll be around 3 p.m. Eastern. So look forward to that. And don't forget that tonight is a member stream with my wife. And you unlocked her continuing her Destiny journey by hitting the stretch goal. So thank you guys so much for doing that.
This feature is utilized in various ways based on which gun you are holding, and sometimes you need a specific weapon to help you navigate a puzzle. For example, you wouldn't be able to get the acorn on top of this roof without a shotgun to blast you up there. We had a lot of fun making each puzzle super unique. There's a minefield that you have to sneak through to get the rewards on the other side. The neighborhood itself has all sorts of backyard puzzles, like getting some air with bouncy umbrellas, or getting low in the crawlspace maze. Some of them can get a little crazy. You can take to the sky on a bouncy castle, and head underwater to get some rewards. Let's take a quick pause in the gameplay to show off some cosmetics we've been working on to style up our squirrel. My favorite outfit is the diving suit because it lets you explore a hidden underwater cave that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. A few of the cosmetics even have tactical effects. Wearing a bomb suit will reduce explosive damage, and the sparkler hat can light propane tanks on fire. And of course, you can't have a squirrel with a gun without the gun. There's 7 different weapons to unlock in the game, each with its own unique takedown and jump boost. You can learn more about them by watching our previous Arsenal trailer, Each one is a blast. I hope you learned a little something about how squirrels can wield weapons and cause chaos. And I can't wait for all of you to get your paws on this passion project of ours.
I love the creativity, not just like Squirrel with a gun, but the fact that they're like having you use the different guns for traversal. I think that's pretty cool.
Bosses in Path of Exile 2 come about two major ways. You obviously have the more traditional approach where you create a narrative and you design a boss around that narrative.
No noose this time. I'll remove your head myself!
The second way, which I think is something that can be very unique and create some of the more interesting encounters, is letting the creative genius of our artists do what they need to do. They can come up with something completely abstract, and this is how you get some of the most awesome things, because all of a sudden it can be something with 100 tentacles, or 9 limbs, or no limbs, or 1,000 teeth, or none, and obviously things that aren't even in my imagination.
I don't know what they're doing, but the way this game looks and sounds and feels is just so far above Diablo. It's like not even close. I think this is one of the best looking, best sounding ARPGs I have ever seen. I don't know what it is they did, but it's phenomenal.
Best of what could possibly be of boss encounters in an action RPG environment with bosses that are utilizing Souls-like mechanics. Despite the fact there's over 100 bosses and more to come, a lot more to come, every single boss fight is completely unique, hand animated from scratch. It is designed from scratch, it is balanced from scratch, and it doesn't reuse a single asset in our library or anything like that.
I think he just explained it, like everything is handcrafted, like every animation. It just all... There's just this fluidity to everything. Everything looks good.
One of the main challenges balancing boss fights in Path of Exile 2, especially compared to its predecessor, you have to, in a single attempt, reduce the boss from full life to 0 in order to then progress through. If a player cannot defeat them now, then they're stuck. It is very, very important to us that Path of Exile bosses, mechanics, especially around telegraphing, feels fair to the user, as opposed to them being cheated out of something when they happen to die. We want to make sure that hitboxes are accurate, and of course, when something hits you, it feels like it hits you. It ultimately makes it feel that much more satisfying when you kill it, and you feel that much more pride when you are able to overcome something difficult, knowing that the game hasn't robbed you of this thing. At the end of the day, you want to see that healthy balance where some people are struggling, and you want to see that moment, that second-hand moment where someone overcomes that challenge and is so happy for doing so. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Somebody in chat said it was Dark Taco. It's just oozing with quality. Everything looks just so excellent, and the sound is just so crispy and so good. Thank you, I Am Melee, for a VIP. Obsidian confirmed Avowed is 30 FPS for a first-person game with combat. Yeah, and they said you don't really need 60 FPS in a first-person RPG, whatever that means. And then King Salty with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. He says, facts, PoE 2 will be phenomenal. I have no problem talking over this. It's just Fortnite festival thing. I mean, like a tiny random fireball in D4 that hits you for 1 million damage out of nowhere, or unmitigatable damage. That's right. Yeah, I love the way he was talking there too about like their philosophy behind enemy telegraphs and wanting you to feel as if like if you die it's fair. I think that's really, really important if you're going to make challenging content.
也是明末冤屈之语的制作人夏世元。
Oh, Wuchang, yes. Oh, this game looks so good.
林泽是一家位于成都的游戏公司。成都有非常丰富的历史底蕴和传统文化，这里有神秘的三星堆，有脍炙人口的三国故事，也有大量的历史建筑和文物。我们在这片土地上生活和工作。作为游戏从业者，我们很希望能够把这些独特的东西带给大家。
Man, they're like all right on top of each other. It's a real intimate working environment.
游戏的故事背景设定在明朝末年的1647年，张献忠刚死，川蜀地区正迎来他最黑暗的时期。由于战乱和羽化病的出现，这个地区就变得非常的险恶。我们为羽化病撰写了属于他自己的架空历史，从蜀王杜宇时代起，经历了汉唐、宋末以至明末。每逢战乱的时候，羽化病就会出现。我们把这些信息分散到了游戏的只言片语当中，以及游戏的场景叙事当中，力求拉近这个架空世界和玩家之间的距离。而无常作为主角，他需要在这些传说中寻找复活妹妹的线索，而在这个过程当中，玩家和主角都会逐渐去接近整个事情的真相。明朝末年在四川地区的战乱、瘟疫的混乱和这种破败的背景，其实和我们的游戏类型是极为契合的。我们希望把更多诸如胡金铨武侠电影的质感和这种黑暗的背景做结合，利用这种强烈的冲突去创造出独特的美术氛围。在这种美术的基调之上，我们就可以通过更多的非线性的关卡设计，或者说是包括一些垂直的关卡设计，去增强冲击力，然后去做更多的场景叙事，营造一种故事感，让玩家能够在体验游戏的时候沉浸其中，或者说是让玩家在游戏中每走的一步路都能够感觉到这个世界是活着的。当然，明末作为一款架空世界的游戏，我们依然希望能够给玩家呈现一个具有明末特色的游戏体验。为了实现这一点，玩家将在游戏中邂逅大量历史中存在的或大或小的人物，比如像张献忠及其4大义子，拉近玩家和传说之间的距离。通过这种大背景下人的抉择，去展现人性中的光明面，把更多关于传统武侠的概念的思考留给玩家。游戏开始的时候，其实给玩家提供了一个容错率非常高的区域，允许玩家慢慢的熟悉游戏当中的一些独特的机制。玩家会跟随无常的视角，发现自己回到了阔别已久的故乡。玩家需要帮助无常去寻找失去的记忆，与游戏中遇到的各种各样的角色进行对话互动。但是在前期，玩家可能不会意识到，前期的每一个抉择其实都是非常关键的。游戏前期其实，为接下来的旅程制造了大量的悬念和铺垫。我们相信这会勾起玩家的好奇心。随着游戏剧情的深入，特别是到了游戏的后期，玩家会产生一种恍然大悟的感觉。实体扫描是一个非常好的方案，因为扫描技术可以把时间的痕迹很好的记录下来。四川还有周边地区存在着大量的明代古建筑以及少数民族的建筑和村落。我们为了去把属于这个时代的特征带给大家，大量使用了像激光扫描仪、相机、无人机等各种各样的设备，去获取物体表面复杂的几何信息，从而生成这些复杂的模型，让它们能够进到游戏当中。这样的话，玩家就能够在游戏中行走在这些过去的时间当中了。战斗方面，我们为了做出一些自己的东西，从电影
Thank you for the super chats, Horse. I appreciate it.
和流派机制，让游戏的核心战斗在不偏离本味的基础之上，能够更加的具有动作性和策略性。比如我们的双刀就借鉴了武侠电影。双刀的部分招式在和对方拼刀的过程当中，能够偏斜对方大部分的伤害，并且造成伤害。但是如果这个时候玩家的体质太弱，那么则无法续航。 所以说这个时候一般会选择一些机技作为组合去弥补核心机制的不足，进而这种不同的搭配就会造成玩家各种各样的 build。我个人其实比较关注玩家在战斗中。
Yo, Wayne, thanks for 8 months as a member. I hate to derail. What's your opinion on Wuchang after its release? Last stream I saw you reviewing the critics' reviews. I really like the game and want to keep playing it, but performance is terrible on PlayStation. It's basically a 30 FPS game, and they're using frame gen to double the frames, and so it leads to input latency and what feels like dropped inputs because I'm playing a 30 FPS game and not actually seeing 30 FPS footage. I'm not seeing the real game. I'm seeing like a fake version of the game. It's hard to explain. It's half the frames are interpolated, so they're not real. So yeah, I'm gonna wait and hope for a patch because everybody said that it was running perfectly fine. It didn't have any issues. I'm not sure what they were talking about. Digital Foundry did a great breakdown. I liked the combat. I was enjoying it. Everybody's struggling with like an early boss, and I beat him like my second try. I was really kind of vibing with the combat, but the performance started to actually affect the gameplay. I felt like I couldn't have a reliable experience and get into a flow state with the game because of the performance. So I've cautioned people to not get it on PlayStation. Even though it's insanely popular and everybody seems to love it, I'm still cautioning people against that.
剧情中得到体现。随着距离我们2025年的发售日越来越近，我们还会陆续给大家带来更多的内容。感谢大家的关注和支持，我们会和505 Games 一道紧密合作，尽快把更多的内容带给大家。
PC build goal. Oh yeah, sorry, I should have said that. Anybody that's on a standard membership, consider upgrading to Member Plus. You'll help us hit our milestone. And we are working to 1,000 member pluses and above, and I have to build a PC on stream. Right now, we're working on getting to 600. So you guys get an extra stream this weekend because you hit 500.
Bienvenue à la Gamescom.
Ah, merci.
Ça va?
Ça va très bien. Thank you very much. Gamescom is awesome. Your booth is awesome. It's very impressive.
And you actually were here last year with 33 Immortals on our Gamescom stage.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been a year, it's been a minute. Could you give us a refresher on the ABCs?
I'll give you a little recap. So 33 Immortals is a co-op action roguelike game where you join the fight with 33 players with you, and then the goal is to fight masses like of monsters and like epic bosses, and all that in a raid, pick up and raid. It's how we call it, the pick up and raid vibe, where we want to give this raid accessible take for players, like low key, low effort. You just join in and you fight all together.
And Phil Spencer is a fan. We know that.
We are very happy to mention that Phil was our first community member since he played last year. But to be fair, he was really nice with us. He played with us. He was very. He's our fan. We love him, and it was a good moment with him last year.
And you got community testing now under your belt as well. So could you tell us more about the reactions?
Yes, it was interesting. Throughout the whole year, we had a closed alpha and a closed beta. For the closed beta, we were very surprised. We had around 47,000 players. We weren't expecting this at all, but we are very grateful and happy to have all these players joining in. And it was nice because we also had a survey in it, and we asked them, would you recommend that game? You know, this classic, would you recommend it? And we were very happy to hear that 94% of them would recommend it. So for us, it was clearly a big success.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And those community testings can be very revealing. So what did you learn about that for your game, and how does your team evolve things before release?
Yeah, indeed, we learned a lot. First of all, we confirmed that our core game mechanic is working very well. The fact of playing with 32 players as a big group in the world, at boss fight, it was a good success. People appreciated all the co-op mechanics. The boss fight, again, they were very appreciated. And also, it's something very TLG-like. It's that we know we have gorgeous art, like gorgeous animation, gorgeous art everywhere. It's really our like tagline when you talk about Thunder Lotus, and we respect that and people appreciate that. It was very good. On the other hand, we also had tons of feedback, and that was good because we needed feedback, obviously. And we know that we have to still work on the combat. The combat is such a big thing in our game. We want to make it more snappy.
I was just going to say the combat looks kind of slow, like there aren't enough frames or something. It doesn't look very fluid.
So again, on some communication features we have in-game, we'll pimp them up to make sure that people have all the tools to communicate with each other very easily. And the last of it is also all about the difficulty. We want to make sure that every player will be able to jump in and enjoy the game with the right difficulty level. Right now, it was a bit too difficult.
So yes, and especially raids can be very difficult. They can be very demanding, sometimes elite. And do you have a different approach on that in the game?
But you said it exactly. Like raids in games, people will have the conception that you really have to dedicate yourself. You have to take time. You have to grind and like make your character more powerful. Have a group that will show up at the same time. We want to take another vibe at this. We want to make sure that people can just open the console, go in our Darkwoods hub, equip a weapon, equip beautiful capes and ornaments because that's important. And then just jump in. And the second you're in the world, you are with 32 other players and you play together. This is really our take on the pickup and raid, and we wanted to make sure that the game will be easy to access, but yet still be challenging. And this is our biggest challenge, I would say, because it's easy to make just a game that is very easy, but it still has to be fun, challenging to the player. So this is really our focus in the past few months, where we want to make sure that our game will be perfectly balanced for this, yet very accessible.
I love that. Accessibility is so important. But I remember you talked about the tutorials. Did anybody beat the tutorials, actually?
It's a funny moment. So we know that at tutorials, we have this kind of torture chamber where you have to die. We want you to die to just stop this and go to it's like you can keep going. But someone was able to just survive the whole thing, and it was very impressive to see this. Some people are very dedicated, and props to these players because we love them a lot. But he did manage to die at some point. I guess otherwise he wouldn't keep going in the game, but that's it. We have very dedicated players for this, and he made it.
I love that story. So he made the impossible possible.
Every players will always show us that everything is possible.
But you also got something new coming up, a new realm. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, exact. So in the closed beta, we introduced a new world, which is about Purgatorio. So right now, just as a little reminder, when you join the game, you start in Inferno. This is where you'll play with 32 players. And then when you join Purgatorio, it's a smaller zone, so it's 22 players, and it's going to be it's going to be way much more rough. It's more challenging and demanding. In terms of the area, it looks very different. There's a lot of ashes everywhere. It's clearly another mood. A lot of monastery and abandoned places everywhere. But the biggest thing about Purgatorio is the fact that the monsters are all different. In Inferno, we have a roster of monster with variation. In Purgatorio, we have a whole different monster roster. And what's cool with them is that we introduce more co-op mechanic between them. So we have monsters that are able to heal each other. So they can be a pain sometimes in some fights. They have some that can slow players down. They have some that can make other monsters invulnerable for a short time. So we wanted to challenge the player differently to make sure that they will use all the roles of the different weapons in an efficient way and just challenge them in a different way with the other world.
So a lot of diversity, a lot to explore and watch out for, definitely.
Yes, exact. And by the way, please note that they are support, but they will still hurt you because, yes, it's about dying again.
Deadly Dead Gaming says it's interesting to see a lot of devs are going backwards in game style to side-scrollers or fixed camera 2D style games in order to make a smooth gameplay experience. I think what you're saying is completely inaccurate. I don't think anybody's doing that. I think people choose an art style or an approach to game because that's what they want to make. Nobody's going to top-down, isometric, or 2D or side-scrollers because they can't get smooth gameplay experiences. We have plenty of games that have come out this gen, both first party from PlayStation as well as third-party games that are maintaining great performance. And the art style here and the camera and the being above, I mean, it isn't even a very high frames per second game. It seems like it's actually low on the frames per second. Which maybe that's an art style. It's almost like they're going for an old style cartoon, like a Saturday morning cartoon or something. But yeah, I think that's a complete misread. I don't think anybody's going to these styles. Number one, I don't think going to a top-down style or a 2D side-scroller style. I don't agree that that's regressive. or like going backwards. I don't agree with that. I also don't agree that people are doing it to get better performance.
So I just want to say a big props, camera.
Yes, please.
Like team, we love you. We are at Underletters. The team is like 20 people, and other people at the office always help with us. And really props to you, and props to all the players that help us with these different phases. We love you. Keep coming back. And if you want to keep contact with us and the game, first of all, join 33immortals.com. Follow us to have news on newsletter and the different phases that will come in. And also, we also started Xbox Insider like playtest on this weekend. It's going to start right now. So for those who are on the Insider ring, please join the fight and have fun with us.
Well, hopefully you can enjoy some more of Gamescom. Thank you so much for coming, Nicolas.
Thank you very much.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Merci. Dankeschön.
De rien. Sign up at 33immortals.com to keep an eye out for 33 Immortals coming to Xbox Game Pass day and date. Coming up, we found out the latest from the Space Marine series. Then we've got 2 gameplay presentations you just gotta see. But first, it's the prequel to the fan-favorite real-time tactics series Commandos.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Xbox booth.
Over 50 titles and experiences means this booth is huge.
Yeah, so huge that we had to do a part 2 of our tour. So why don't you show everybody Towerborn, and I'll go find out what else is on the booth.
Come on, join me. This is Towerborn, a 4-player co-op game you can enjoy here at the booth. So make sure to bring some friends with you, because there are gonna be some amazing boss battles as well. Make sure to check this out. By the way, where's Henry at?
Over here, our fans get to experience Microsoft Flight Simulator like a proper pilot. We've got the yoke, we've got the rudder set up. From personal experience, this is definitely the way to play it. And we also brought along World Update 18 and a brand new plane for them to check out. Looks sick.
No Xbox Gamescom without Forza Horizon. And we got a new Day 1 announcement with Hide and Seek. Fans at the booth can already play this new mode. And they can also check the latest Nike collab. Fans at home can play the latest mode on September 10th.
Over here is the perfect opportunity for fans of Fallout 76 or that recent TV show to grab a great snap in front of this iconic vault door. But follow me inside because I've got something to show you. Now, the Skyline Valley update's been available for a little bit of time, but here at Gamescom is their first chance to playtest the upcoming update, Milepost Zero.
Welcome to the Here to Help Accessibility Desk. We are dedicated to have you all play. Whether on our broadcast or around the booth, we have multi-language interpreters. We have wheelchair accessible ramps and also stuff to set up the Xbox Adaptive Set. We have the World of Warcraft booth with a great VR wheelchair experience, so make sure to check this out. We have great audio descriptive tours as well. We also show you the new joysticks and make sure to check out and maybe customize your own thumbsticks.
Over here we've got the Avowed theater experience, which is really cool because our fans get a VIP walkthrough of some never before seen gameplay. Right after that they can also cast some spells and whatever they're doing.
Are you ready for the pirate party experience? Then check out the Sea of Thieves booth here at Gamescom. We have a chicken present. You can win some loot.
This feels like an SNL skit. It literally feels like an SNL skit. Like, this is what SNL would do to make fun of gaming conventions.
Untold is your game. Fans can choose between different historical figures. You can build and explore, but choose wisely, because this world is yours now.
Understandably, this next section is so popular, I couldn't even get too close to it. We've got the first Starfield expansion, Shattered Space, right next to the first Indiana Jones game since 2011, all wrapped up into one beautiful theater experience for our fans to see. There's a lot for them to check out behind those walls.
Xbox is all about the fans, and at this community hub, you can get up close and personal with your
It's not the presenters. You guys always blame the presenters. They don't write the copy. These poor people holding these microphones and these hosts, they are actually doing the best they can, like, really and truly. Like, they don't write the copy. They didn't come up with these jokes and stuff. They stand in front of the camera and they read the script. Like, I don't get who directs this stuff. I really don't. I don't get who directs this stuff. It's like, who are you making this for? You're not making it for gamers. It's literally, it just feels like some executive in some room is like, oh, the kids are going to love this, so that's going to be really hip and funny. And you make these poor hosts read and make these terrible jokes. It's just, good night. I feel bad for the people on the other side of the camera. You know? When I did main stage hosting at Twitch, I was so thankful I didn't have to do any of the scripted stuff. Some of the other people there had to like walk around and do scripted segments, and I was so glad I didn't have to do that. I just had the freedom to sit down and ask questions. It felt more authentic. That was like the longest trailer ever.
And that was Commando's Origin. I'm pretty good, didn't it?
Sick.
Now, to Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Henry, did you know it was released back in 2011? What? Now, 13 years later, Space Marine 2 is nearly ready to make landfall. Here with more, please welcome Saber Interactive's Chief Creative Officer, it's Tim Willits. How you doing, Tim?
Thank you for having me.
Well, are you having a good Gamescom so far?
This has been a great Gamescom, and the reception on the game has been...
I think she's their best host. I think she does a really good job. Everybody gives her grief about her hair, but I think she's great.
Released back then, and knowing that there's quite a following to the Space Marine universe. I mean, the game itself, the IP that the franchise is based on, has been ongoing for many years. Yeah. What's it like working with a team like Games Workshop to bring something like that to life?
Nice.
Yes, it's been a great honor for us to work with Games Workshop and to also work on the in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. You know, this universe was created 45 years ago, and the influence that it has had on video games that we've played for decades, I don't think many people realize. You know, working with Games Workshop, you know, we worked hand in hand on the story, the setup, the Space Marine chapters, even like the enemies that you fight. So it was a great collaborative effort.
Yeah, no, I can totally imagine. And because of that, with 45 years, you say, of history, I imagine there's quite a challenge when it comes to making a sequel to a popular
You like Zac Efron? He does good too. That guy's good.
But even trying to entice new folks who, like myself, I haven't played the first Space Marine game. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, you know, what does this mean for those who have played for ages or maybe uninitiated to 40k?
Yes, that's a great question. It was definitely a challenge to create a game that both respected the franchise, respected the fans, but also was approachable enough for people to play it. Now, I know you said you haven't played Space Marine 1.
Please don't hurt me, Tim. I'll get round to it.
That is totally fine. Yes. Don't worry that, if you haven't played the franchise, jump into Space Marine 2. If you're just a fan of over-the-top, in-your-face action games, this is the game
That
for you.
sounds like a bit of us.
Right, that's good. But for the fans that have been there all along the way, they played the originals, how have they helped, your community basically in focusing your development team to make sure the sequel is just right for them too?
Yes. The community, the Warhammer 40,000 community is intense. It's millions strong, and
Well, they love it, right?
They love it.
Passionate amount of love, yeah.
Yes, and so working with Games Workshop, they have their community team, they have their expert writers, we have talked.
What's the host name? Her name is Charlie. Charlie Hodson. Her name is Charlie Hodson. She's the official host of what was the one that Phil Spencer did? Xbox On podcast.
The most badass soldier in the universe.
I mean, have you seen the sort of stuff they're up against? It's crazy, right?
I was going to say, looking at it, that was going to be my next question. Actually, is how is this love and this influence reflected in the action and the pace of the game that we're looking at here? Because this looks, well, you said it's quite intense. It looks really full on.
Yeah.
Yes. The key to Space Marine 2 is both the complex melee system and the range combat. One of the things that you will see is, Titus has to use everything in his arsenal, from blocks.
No, Avowed has not been on yet.
Glory kills.
Nice.
It's really a very visceral, intense, and in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks so good. So do all of them have different kind of that up-close melee ability that we just saw as well? I know there are multiple folks you can play.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the great things about the game is we have a campaign where you play as Titus, and he has 2 squad mates whom the computer can play them, or your buddies can play with you.
Oh, fun, okay.
Yes.
Great.
And then we have a PvE campaign where you can play as your own Space Marine.
Ooh.
And you can customize your Space Marine. You can be the chapter that you want. You can upgrade.
That's great.
And then that also leads to PvP. So you can go head-to-head with other humans playing as Space Marines.
Oh, that sounds good.
Absolutely.
That's a bit of us. I like that. And there's the range stuff that we're seeing here now, yeah.
This is the thing, the action is very intense, and at times the number of enemies can get quite overwhelming as well. It's not just about the fact that you're dealing with someone far away, maybe someone up close, because I can deal with one dude.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
He's fine with that.
Tell me about the
for sure.
sort of technology you've had to develop to allow for there to be so much going on the screen at once.
Yes, so the key critical component of this experience.
That was sick.
Yes,
by the way.
that is an awesome
me?
glory
We
kill.
just need to quickly go, nice job, Tim. Like that, Tim.
Yes. So the Swarm engine. The Swarm engine was developed by Saber Interactive in World War Z, and that has been developed, and now we're in Swarm Engine 2, where we can bring massive amounts of Tyranids, never seen before, and they just come at you and they break apart. And every one of those Tyranids, based on our new AI director, starts thinking, and they're thinking about killing you. And it is an over-the-top war, epic, never seen before, epic war, where you are the main fighter.
And is this just going around in the skybox? Because I don't know about you, Henry, but the idea of loads of Tyranids flying at me sounds kind of fun. Is it something that you can see from a distance, or are they coming at you?
Yeah, they're much scarier.
They're just Tyranids.
Yes, especially when they're hundreds and hundreds.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they come at you with everything, and you need to use every weapon in your arsenal. Every move that you practice to stay alive. You can see here where the Tyranids are moving into the battlefield, and they're just on their way.
Falling off.
It's nuts. And as they approach, they immediately break out into individual units that have their own AI.
I was going to say, how does that work with the swarm? Are they all on a set path, or as soon as they land, is it just the fastest route they can get to you and start messing you up?
So our new advanced AI director coordinates the battle.
Nice.
So the swarm can come from different directions. The swarm kind of breaks apart, when they separate. That can happen at different times, based on the state of the battle, based on what you're doing, and based on what your Space Marine buddies are doing.
Tim, you've done it again. Did you see that one?
No, I'll watch
that
that
one
one.
was sick. And what's the show about?
That one was
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
I'm so distracted. This looks so good.
You just said that they assess what the state of the battle is.
Yeah.
So does that mean they're also reactive? And if they're thinking, oh, he's got this lane covered, let's direct some around here to sort of flank. Is that the sort of thing you're talking about?
Yes. So you are a Space Marine. You're a Primaris Ultramarine. Okay. But we can't make the game super easy for you.
Nah.
So you'll feel like, yeah, I'm bashing these Tyranids, but then they overwhelm you. And then the AI director can bring in more advanced units from different directions. You know, they can flank you. So the ultimate goal is to feel like you're not going to survive, to feel like this is you're going to lose, but you make it and you win, and it's a great feeling.
It's like at every opportunity, you're just about to close the gap, feel like you're getting ahead, and then you guys are just like Sebulba, just chucking a wrench in my engines, and I'm falling back again, and it's all over. Got to work from scratch again.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. It's very
Good
intense.
reference, Henry.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Very on brand for you. I like it. Yeah, that gameplay we were just looking at, by the way, the sheer size of it. Yeah, here we go. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can see a little bit of the
Yes.
form here. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a flying. They're flying Tyranids. In this particular battle, they're attacking these huge kind of radio towers, and you just destroy them as you try to survive, because they start landing. Different units start landing on the same platform that you're on. And as you can see, there's lots of ways that you can go about killing bad guys.
Yeah, not for you, mate.
So it's not just mindless violence. There is also quite a lot of objectives, mechanics to be following as well.
Strategy, yeah.
Yes. So if you played the first one, and I know you haven't, that's okay.
This is homework to do. I understand.
This is our melee system is much more advanced. It's much deeper, and our range combat system is also much more advanced. So I like to call it the dance of death, where you have your melee, your blocks, your reactions, your critical hits, and then you can also pull up your ranged weapons, take out enemies from a distance.
No, they have not said if this is on PC or Xbox. It's probably PC. I'm definitely not sure that we're going to get 60 FPS in this game on console.
I'm clearly guessing that if you let that get to 0...
Yes. Mission over for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Were there any other technical developments that really plussed up Space Marine 2, by the way?
This is our own technology.
Nice.
And when you build the technology for a game, you can make it awesome. We talked about the Swarm. We talked about the AI director. It's crossplay.
No.
Yes.
Ooh, I love that.
So you can beat up your buddies.
I will.
And
you're first, by the way.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yes, and then you can play solo, you can play PvE, and there's a full-fledged PvP mode as well. So it's a very dense game. It's as dense as a Space Marine.
Oh, I love it. So give us some more juicy information. When can we actually get our hands on it?
So Space Marine 2 comes out September 9th. If you pre-order it now, you can play it early. It's right around the corner. Wow. We're testing the servers, making sure that the infrastructure can survive the Tyranid horde that's coming. We feel good. The reactions to the gamers here playing it's great. We're excited, and we want to get it out the door.
Amazing.
Thank you, Tim.
It sounds like you're super busy. We'll let you get back to work on getting on the horde. Thanks for stopping by.
Run out of time, Tim. Crack on, bud.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, though. I'm definitely playing.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
Well, coming up, though...
I think the game looks fantastic. I love the vibe. I just have continued to be worried about performance on console.
Obsidian Entertainment to give you guys, an exclusive gameplay presentation direct from the Avowed theater here at Gamescom. But first up, it's what First Descendant fans have been looking forward to all year long. It's Invasion's right around the corner, and we also got a look at what you can expect. And we also just learned, by the way, Charlie, that the newest Descendant, Haley's character trailer, will be revealed before the update goes live August 29th. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, have a look at this.
We managed to fend off our enemy's large-scale attack, but the war is far from over. The Colossus still threatens us, and our enemies are plotting new strategies. Can Ingress ever find true peace? Has Corel really given up on the war? After Corel's fleet disappeared, the Vulgus began moving from deep within the dungeon to raid the Ancestors' facilities in Ingress and reclaim the outpost. Detecting this, Ingress immediately dispatched a scout. That scout's name is Haley. Haley, who rose from a supply soldier in the guerrilla unit to a legendary sniper, is now a newcomer in the Descendant Corps. ruthlessly eliminating enemies with her anti-material sniper rifle. She dominates battles with her ability to drop her body temperature and emit cold air when her emotions run high. When shooting from a distance, her weapon's critical hit multiplier increases, making her an excellent fit for sniper rifles. She possesses sub-zero bullets that fire multiple shots in an instant, and a storm snare that pushes back and rapidly cools down enemies in front. Above all, Haley's specialty is switching to her anti-material sniper rifle and firing a single, incredibly powerful shot, stronger than any other attack. In Season 1, the Vulgus launches a new strategy, the Invasion. Invasions occur randomly in 2 dungeons of the hard difficulty infiltration operations. Players can choose to enter between the existing operations
we've already
or the
seen
invasions.
Sorry. We've already seen this trailer. Some of you might not have seen it.
Solo play, testing the strength of the Descendants. 3 Vulgus legions will block the Descendants with different defense mechanisms. The quantum field creates an immortal state, impervious to physical attacks. The resonance shatterers cause massive explosions with the energies of RK and the Iron Heart. The Keeper Tile encryption device maintains a powerful security system. Invasion dungeons present new mechanics that disrupt the Descendants' operations. Solve these enemies' mechanisms and swiftly eliminate them. Invasion dungeons are designed for speed runs, and the faster you clear them, the greater the rewards that await. After coming in contact with the Iron Heart, Descendants experience an RK resonance phenomenon. This resonance grants the Descendants new powers. It's the season growth inversion reinforcement. Inversion reinforcement is a new growth system that resets at the start of each season. It includes 5 types: hunting, attributes, recovery, survival, and seasons. Through the inversion reinforcement, Descendants gain beneficial effects for progressing through seasonal content, and can also obtain effects that compensate for their weakness. Each season, we plan to tailor and replace the inversion reinforcement effects, providing effects that perfectly fit the seasonal content. In addition to a new Descendant, a new Ultimate Descendant will be introduced in Season 1. Ultimate Freyna, who has evolved RK's toxicity into a more powerful weapon, will make her debut.
Do I still play the First Descendant? No, I got kind of bored, honestly. The gameplay got really repetitive. I liked it. When I played it, I enjoyed it. But when I was away from it, I never once felt like, oh, I can't wait to get back in there and play that, you know? I think the game could slowly evolve into a game I want to spend more time with, but I think there were a handful of things that just made me just... the way I summarized it was the gameplay is just very enjoyable and satisfying and mindless, but because of that, it's not very memorable. So I don't have like these, oh snap moments. I want to do that again. Yeah, it just didn't hook that part of my brain. If you're going to have a game like that hook you, you have to be thinking about it when you're not playing it, or kind of having that itch to jump back in, and I just never once felt that for the First Descendant.
Lurks in the darkness of the void, targeting the life of Descendants. It is stronger than any Colossus encountered so far. To protect Albion from the threat of Deathstalker, we must once again venture into the void, unravel the mysteries within the darkness, and intercept Deathstalker. The First Descendants' first season begins on August 29th with Haley, a new Descendant, Ultimate Freyna, and the new Ultimate Weapons. New episodes, dungeon content, and void intercept battles await you in Albion, Descendants. The First Descendant, Season 1 Invasion. Play for free.
Didn't scratch the lizard brain? No, like, I'm enjoying playing Cult of the Lamb with my wife. I actually felt more of a draw to jump back in and play Deep Rock Galactic. Like, I enjoyed that grind more. Now, my son didn't like it, and my wife didn't like it either, so I'm not playing it. But if I would have been able to play that, I would have. I wanted to play with somebody else.
Avowed booth at Gamescom. We're so excited to introduce you to the Dawn Treader Quest and Dungeon. And in just a moment, you'll get a walkthrough from senior narrative designer Kate Dollarhide, who's also the writer for this quest, and our community support manager, Chris Stanek. Don't forget to wishlist Avowed on Xbox and Steam, and look out for our release on February 18th. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the world of Aora.
Hi, I'm Kate Dollarhide. I'm a narrative designer at Obsidian Entertainment.
Hi, I'm Chris,
Danik, the community support manager here at Obsidian Entertainment.
We're so excited to show you Avowed. I'm going to be walking us through the dungeon.
I'm going to be playing the game.
So let's get into it. Let's jump in. All right, so the Envoy finds themselves in a dungeon in the first region of the game called Dawnshore. They're searching for an Adherent expedition team that's gone missing. The expedition team was here looking for a holy relic that is supposedly in the keeping of the Oracle of Aethys, a man named Sargamus. And the expedition team hasn't shown up for the last few days, so let's check in with Sargamus and see if he knows what happened to them.
I'm sure he knew something.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It has been too long. I had feared I was the last of us, but you... Oh, the very sight of you is a balm for the soul. I am the Oracle Sargamus, servant of the once shining god, he whose light has lately dimmed. What brings you to this sacred space?
So you can see at the top here we have an Arcane Scholar background check. That was selected at character creation. When you play the game, you'll have an option of 5 background checks to choose from. We chose Arcane Scholar because we're playing a wizard and it just felt right. But let's check the lore, tooltips, and conversation review feature.
All right.
Chris, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course.
Thank you. All right, so on the left here we have the conversation history feature. This is going to allow us to scroll back through conversations we've already been through and just, check on anything we might have missed that we wanted to confirm. And you'll notice here that the words Once Shining God have been highlighted. This is our lore tooltip feature. Once Shining God is a reference to the god Aethys, the god of redemption, light, rebirth. He's also Sargamus's god. So here on the left side of the screen, we have a short paragraph about who Aethys is, his context, and a menu where you can select different lore tooltips. So these tooltips are helpful for us to, deliver lore from the world of Aora to players who are new to the setting or who are returning after a long time away, and just get everyone up to speed without bogging down the dialogue with a lot of exposition. So these are super helpful for us and hopefully for you. Let's back out of that. All right.
Yeah, just very briefly, they confirmed that this is going to be a 30 FPS game on console. In an interview with the Iron Lords, their explanation was they wanted juicy visuals. I have yet to see anything in Avowed that justifies 30 FPS. All the areas we've seen feel like small set pieces. Everything seems somewhat narrow. The FOV doesn't seem broad, and nothing seems to justify 30 FPS. It sounds like we're getting another Starfield Hellblade explanation that, they could patch later like they did with Starfield and even Redfall. But yeah, just another game coming to market well below basic standards for games like this.
They could not hope to move it. Do you know what their purpose is here?
Let's select option 2. They were searching for a relic you're rumored to keep here.
Ah, the splinter of Aethys. I suppose it was too much to hope they were here to examine these exquisite ruins. Truly, it is their loss.
Where do you keep the relic? I might find them there.
It rests in a shrine deep within this temple complex, beyond the reach of looters, visitors, or indeed myself. The path to the relic has fallen to ruin. Some sections are flooded, and others are infested with all manner of creatures. Although, perhaps you might assist me with that.
If you're about to ask us to tidy up, think again. My place is a much bigger mess.
Oh, no. I had something far grander in mind. You see, this construction beside us is no mere statue, but a reliquary I have built to house the splinter of Aethys in its appropriate grandeur. It is nearly complete, and ready for the splinter to be interred. But I can no longer reach the relic on my own. Return it to me, and who knows, perhaps you will meet your expedition along the way.
All right, I'll be back before you can say 10 praise Aethyses.
I am most grateful. Oh, And please refrain from touching my statue or devices. May light illuminate your path, cousin.
All right, so Sargon has had quite a lot to say there, but essentially he was saying that he didn't see the expedition team that we're looking for, but if they're looking for the relic, that might be where they are. And it just so happens that he also needs this relic to complete his statue here. His beautiful statue.
He worked really, really hard on it.
He has. He's put a lot of stuff on that.
It's like when my son makes things out of popsicles.
It is giving Lego. So you made me lose my train of thought. You're demonic. So it looks like our quest marker is pointing us to an area down below us, but I see that Chris wants to explore a little bit. So let's look at these breakable boards. It's got a sword symbol there. Can we get the sword out?
Yeah.
Leave those be. They protect my devices.
Oh, I don't think
What the heck was that?
Surely he won't hold it over us later.
Let's leave those alone for now and keep exploring. So, ooh, more breakable boards. Awesome. Let's hop across this chasm. Keep heading up. So we have designed Avowed.
I am experiencing secondhand embarrassment. Like, what is going on? What?
When you're exploring, so have a look around and always look up. You never know what you'll find. Like this chest. Ooh, we've got an accessory and some crafting materials. Let's open up the inventory screen, take a look at that. So that's going to be Night Mistress's favor. This is going to give us additional essence for standing next to our companions. Essence is what spellcasters cast their spells from. It's our... I can't remember what the word is now.
It's our resource.
It's our spell resource.
Yes.
Yes, it's our spellcasting resource, of course. So Night Mistress's favor is going to allow us to cast more spells for longer by generating additional essence when we stand next to our friend Pat. So let's look at the character screen. All right, so we have attribute points on the left and our character sheet on the right. You will have seen the attribute points come up in conversation. We select a number of those at character creation and then a few points here and there on level up. So we have put a number of points into intellect because we're playing a wizard. So we want that additional essence and that elemental resistance to give us a little more survivability in combat. Now let's turn to our character sheet. You can see that we're level 6. We are close to getting a new level, close enough. We've got our background there. And then our health, essence, stamina, data, all those good stats that you can keep track of over the course of the game. So let's look at abilities. All right, we have put quite a number of points in the wizard ability tree because we're playing as a wizard. The first one we selected was the Wand Mastery passive. This is going to give us the ability to do additional damage with wands. Because we're double wielding wands, that's going to allow us to do a lot of additional damage. And then down below it, we've got the Blood Magic passive. This is a really fun way to play and definitely one of QA's favorites. Blood Magic essentially lets us start casting from our health when we run out of essence. So if we're slinging spells back and forth in combat, we don't have to use an essence potion, we can just start using our health. It's a risky strategy, but it is very powerful. Let's look at Grimoire Mastery. All right, Grimoire Mastery does a number of things. First, it lets us use higher level spells as we upgrade the ability. It also lets us memorize spells from our grimoires. So if you have a grimoire you really like, but you get a new one that's cool and you want to try, you can spec into some of those spells from your previous grimoire and then toss it aside and pick up your new one. So let's look at our...
Like, they seem so nice and they seem so passionate about their game, but like, why do you think that this is a good way to show off your game? Like, what are we doing here? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Alejandro says Obsidian should have just made a Fallout game. It would have been more interesting. Yeah, I don't think you deep dive into the RPG stuff like this. We can look at this later on our own, and people that care about this kind of stuff don't need it explained to them. I don't know. This is such a bizarre showcase of the game.
I'm offended that it was even brought up.
I'm sorry. I won't bring it up again. Our other active here is Arcane Veil. This is your classic magical barrier ability. Because we're playing a wizard, we're wearing light armor. We want to be light, we want to be nimble, move around the battlefield quickly, but that also means we're opened up to a lot of additional damage. Arcane Veil is going to help us catch some of that damage. and not take it ourselves. And then down here we've got Bristling Frost. This is a spell we learned from our grimoire. Bristling Frost is going to create a ring of frost on the ground at your feet, and it's going to deal accumulated freeze damage to any melee units that come and get up in your business.
They're gonna try. They're not gonna make it though.
No, you won't let them.
That's right.
You're just that good.
Well, let's not go crazy, because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna die so many times just now because of this. It's hubris. This is the curse.
And now that we've said it never happens.
Oh, it's totally gonna happen now.
All right, so our quest beacon is sending us through this tunnel full of water, so let's just have a swim as we go look for the expedition team. All right, it looks like we're coming into Sargemus's old workshop. We've got some Audra there attached to some wires, a number of animancy like devices around. Yeah, so Audra is central to the universe of Pillars of Eternity, where the people, plants, animals die, their soul leaves their body, flies into the nearest Audra pillar, and then goes deep into the earth to re-enter the cycle of reincarnation.
Sounds like a lot of work.
But can you argue with the results?
No, you're right.
All right, so it looks like we've got a godless sigil here. Excellent, and a essence generator there in the back. So
I am more interested and compelled by their flirtation with each other. Like, I need to know, are they a thing? They digging each other? You know, is it like, are they office boyfriend and girlfriend, or is there something really going on here between the two of them? Right? Like, I'm more interested in that than this game right now.
Room.
I can try to ram it.
What?
I was gonna try to ram it.
Just try to ram it?
Yeah.
Well, that's not working, so let's go back to that top level and see
Right?
if there's
Come on,
another
chat.
place
Something's
we
going
could
on
look.
here. Something's going on between the two of
Sorry, a
them.
little more thoroughly.
Did you hear how she said that? Just try to ram it? Yeah, that ain't the first time she said that.
Explosion symbol on it. We're not going to be able to break that down with our swords, so we're going to need grenades. Nice.
I was gonna try to ram it again, but I don't think you would have liked if I tried to ram it again.
Here we have an
She instantly laughs at everything he says. Come on, dude. Come on.
electricity symbol on it, so that means we...
It's kind of adorable. It doesn't matter what he says, dude. She's giggling about it. She's like, yeah, you're funny and tall and handsome.
Or if you have a companion with you who uses electricity, you could use their ability too. For us, we're going to need an electric lily seed, so why don't we get that equipped?
I finally feel like I'm on a cooking show where something's pre-cooked. You're like, and here's the chicken.
And here's the switch. Yes.
See? She
You did
laughs
it. All
like
right,
instantly.
So the generator is running. We've got an accessory and some crafting materials. Let's pop open the inventory.
She doesn't even wait, bro. She doesn't even wait. She's like,
So we're going to deal 10% additional damage, but also take 10% additional damage. It's a little risk, a little reward. I think it's going to be fun. Let's equip it.
I like it.
All right, back to swimming, following our quest beacon here. It looks like we're coming up on Sargemus's library, an enormous library, which is pretty impressive in the world of Aora, where there is no printing press, so all these books are handwritten. It looks like we also have a number of red dots in our mini-map in the top left corner. That means there's enemies nearby, so... let's deal with these spiders. What do you want to do, Chris?
Oh, I'm going to sneak up on them and
You're
I'm going to
sneak
get
up
them.
on them. All right. Nice.
Quick and quiet.
Give me a power attack to that spider. Arcane Veil. Corrosive Siphon. Spread the love around.
Oh, yeah. Spiders love the corrosive siphon.
All right.
Yeah.
Another power attack on that spider. We're building up that stun meter over time. That's going to allow us to do a special attack when the stun meter's full. Looks like Kai's done his companion ability, and now he's taunting that spider, drawing aggression away from us, which is very nice. And now we get that special attack.
Hit it with some electricity.
And a little bit of electricity grenades.
Back off and finish it with the wand.
Awesome.
Easy.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Can we? I want to interview
moving.
them. We just sit them down. All right. So how long have you guys been a thing? Like, I'm more interested in that. That combat looked awful.
Let's use Kai's fire starter ability. And that should burn right away. There we go.
It's always handy to have a useful friend around.
A guy who can do tricks.
Yeah, right.
He always has a
Like-
lighter.
And you know, I'm walking around, I run into a web, I'm like, there it is. I gotta get Kai. Call him up.
He's dependable. That's what we say about Kai. All right, so I don't see any sign of the expedition team, but what I do see
just
are
kiss at this
Subzorus
point.
and a water beetle. So
Just do
let's
it.
join their party. Ooh, it looks like that damage we did to the water.
Yo, Ray with the $5 super chat. I was excited for this game. This is a tech demo. This looks old gen. Yeah, it's rough, bro. I tried to tell people from the very beginning that the combat looked rough. The game just didn't look. It just didn't look good to me. It never really has. It's looked better graphically, but like gameplay has always looked bad.
Good.
Oh, we got
Good
Bristling
French bee.
Frost. Excellent. So we're dealing some accumulated frost
Oh,
damage.
I'm gonna get the Zorup up here. Thinks he's cheeky.
Where'd he go?
There he is.
Running away from us.
Did he jump up there? No. Beetle left? Yeah, the beetle's left. Little beetles.
Oh, he's so fast.
He's nimble.
There you go. Nice.
Did it.
All right. Done and dusted. Let's keep moving.
You didn't doubt that I was gonna die there, did you? Like,
I thought about it. I thought about it, but I was like, no.
Look at the way she's side-eye. Come on, man. Come on. She's giving little side eyes, like lifting her eyebrow. Good gracious. They're adorable. They're more attractive than the game.
2 godless sigils above a locked gate. And there's something in there these ruins don't want us to get to. Thankfully, there's a wire on the left and a wire on the right. I think those are going to go to the essence generators. So the one on the left was going below us. Let's pop down there and see what we can find. Yes, there it is. All right, that's one down. Where's the other? Should be close by. It was right off to the right. Oh, there it is in that gap.
Right,
on the left.
Right there.
True SSJ Havoc says, I now actually have negative interest in this game.
Both those sigils activated. The gate is open. We can get our prize from the sarcophagus.
The gameplay they've shown us, I'm so trying not to be that guy. Nothing seems to be good or excellent. It all seems very basic. The dialogue was slow, plotting, and boring. The voice acting was good, but the dialogue didn't seem to do that much. Inventory and all this doesn't seem to be bad, but then the gameplay itself, it's like the combat looks so bad, and like navigating into these rooms and stuff. This feels like an indie title or something.
It's really shiny.
Can't be as easy as just grabbing it.
But I don't think the ruins liked us taking that relic. So we've had a bit of an earthquake, and it spawned some skeletons.
Hello, friends.
Hope you're ready for a skeleton fight.
Yeah, always ready for a skeleton fight. That's what they always say about me.
Christian,
You know,
always
Chris,
ready for a
always
skeleton.
ready for a skeleton fight.
There,
Oh,
Kai's doing
Chris.
some help for us over here. Excellent. I think we've got some rangers on the left. We should deal with them right away. Yeah, they're going to be no fun. Raining arrows down on us. All right, that's one down. Tower attack. Oh, a grenade
nice.
as he jumped. Nice. That was
Like, hit them
stylish.
with the lightning.
Very
Is there one more?
stylish. Is there another one?
I'm being sloppy. Where'd he go? There he is.
Oh,
it's this guy, that's why.
Oh, it's the fighter.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
We got something for him.
All right, so he's got a shield,
That wasn't
which
it.
means we're going to need to break his defense in order to deal damage to him. That's
And
why
then
Chris is using a
Kai's-
power attack here. Chris is gonna use Kai's companion ability to hit that skeleton, and he's toast. Now we've got a mini boss, the Godless Executioner.
Try again, try again.
Try again.
It's okay. He'll get me one
So
day.
this guy hits hard, and he has a very extensive range, so we want to stay.
He did get me a few
We want
times.
to stay out of his reach. Ooh, it looks like he's being healed. Oh, there's a priest up there. We got to get him right away.
We're gonna get you.
Arcane Veil active. Corrosive Siphon.
Melt you down. No more healing.
Melt down
We're
that
done with
priest.
that.
Excellent. All right, now we can finally do some damage to the Godless Executioner. Ooh. Good thing we have Arcane Veil active. All right, we're building up some nice stun. He's taking frost damage. He's frozen now.
It looks so
Maybe we
bad.
should let it
Like
go.
I don't. Like, even their adorable chemistry can't save this presentation. Like, the art style and the setups, all of this looks great if it were like third person and fluid, but it's first person, it's not fluid, it's slow, it's plodding, the frames are terrible, the animations are jerky, the camera's all over the dadgum place. It doesn't look fun. It looks so stiff. Like, this is a guy that worked on the game, and he can't even make it look good. He's, like, awkwardly moving around the room, slow turning the camera to find the enemies. It's terrible.
All right, there's the Ranger. Another electric lily.
Yes, come into my electric pool of fun. You, sir, I've had it with you. Yes.
Bristling Frost does it again.
All right, Kai, I need to
See, that entire time, he was just getting hit by guys from out of the frame. He was, it's just, the FOV is so zoomed in, like, you can't see anything. The entire time, he was going over to the door, he was just getting smacked by these other guys in the room. This is the kind of game that you need a slightly zoomed out view, third person. It needs to be quick. It needs to be fluid. This is, I can't get over how bad this is.
Cause some roots to grow and this area to flood, giving us a new way out of this zone.
Yeah, it feels like VR, Eugene. Like, I played Asgard's Wrath, and the combat flowed better than this. And Asgard's Wrath is a VR game. The combat in this has no flow to it at all. It's just, go up to somebody, oh, it's their turn now. Go up to somebody, oh, it's their turn now. It's what in the world? Why do I want? Who wants to play combat like that? You got 4 targets in the room, and you just have to slowly make your way to each person?
One of our quest beacons has turned into an area beacon. It's that little circle inside the larger minimap circle. That means there's something more to find in this area, so we maybe need to look around.
Yeah, and the frames, the frame rate is all over the dadgum place. Like, there were a couple times he swung at enemies, and I swore it, like, skipped frames. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, and there's no weight to the attacks. You just, like, swing straight through half the time. I'm telling you, this game's in a rough spot.
It doesn't look good.
No,
Not
looks
at
like it
all.
might be the Yadiran Exposition team.
Oof, this is awkward.
Yeah, that's the Expedition Leader's Journal. That's too bad.
Well, we found the expedition. Looks like they've only been dead a few hours. But how did they get in here? They can't have come the same way we did. We swam here. What's stranger is there's not a scratch on them. No sign of what killed them. It's like every member of the expedition team just collapsed.
Looks like we passed this intellect check, so I want to select this one. They didn't get locked in here on their own. The Oracle put them here.
We're using our big brain. Problem solving.
That's right.
Here's an idea. This temple is full of old animancy equipment. Could he be building a giant animat? I've heard of those, but I've never seen one. They're suits of armor brought to life by bound souls, right? The Oracle couldn't have.
Sorry, I missed your super chat, Ray, and we also have a re-up. 1 second here. Ray says, this looks like a game that someone made with one of those game generator programs like PlayStation RPG Maker. Thank you for the 5 spot. And then 21 months from Iron Hand. Guys, make sure if you're on the standard membership, you bump up to Member Plus for $1. Help us hit that milestone. You'll unlock more streams and events for the channel. We already hit 500. Thanks so much.
This god associated with Eora's bloodiest wars, and he recently killed thousands of people in Deadfire. Now we have a piece of him, and we're about to face a maniac who wants it desperately. Tread carefully.
So Kai is right to be concerned. He thinks the Oracle might be engaging in animancy, which in the world of Eora is a little dicey. Animancers have a pretty poor reputation, and honestly, in much of the world, animancy is illegal or really frowned upon. Animancers are soul scientists. They use essence, or the stuff that souls are made of, to enact great magical works in the world, but also a lot of tragic stuff. So let's go talk to the Oracle and see what he has to say for himself.
He's got a perfectly reasonable explanation. He seems you know,
It's gonna be
on the up
normal.
and up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are things that people do.
You have been gone some time. Do you carry the splinter of Aethys?
I found the bodies of the expedition team in your workshop. Did you kill them?
Ah, I did not expect you to be so thorough in your explorations. Nevertheless, I am impressed. As to whether I killed them, well, that is a matter of semantics. Does death occur the moment the heart ceases beating, or when the soul is broken upon the wheel? In one sense, then they are quite dead. In another, they remain very much alive. In either case, they have entered a state of change, and the impetus was mine.
Let's see. It looks like we passed this perception check. You're gonna put their souls in your statue, aren't you?
There's weird things going on too. There's weird things going on too, like her face was out of focus or the textures weren't right. Like, what was going on there?
You see, I have given them the opportunity to be part of something larger than themselves. With your help, I shall give them a new commission. To prosecute the redemption of a god.
How do you expect to redeem Aethys?
Do you carry the relic I asked you to collect?
I do carry it.
We do.
Excellent. The relic you have retrieved was stolen from Aethys' body. He is bound to it, or it to him. And before the events at Ukaizo, he would speak to me through it. He speaks to me no longer, but I believe he resonates with the splinter yet, as I do. If I am correct, when it is placed in the statue, the magnifying power of the Ardra will draw him into it, and he will be trapped. Locked into the reliquary with a chorus of furious souls acting as his conscience. He will finally begin the work of making right all the wrong he has done. All that is left is for you to place the splinter into the statue's chest. Will you do it?
I mean, we could just give it to him and he could go up there and
What
do
do you
it.
think?
We've got to go up there and do it too?
I want to do the cool stuff.
Okay.
Yes, I will put the relic in
All
the
right.
statue. I want to see where this is going to go.
Oh,
Once you have placed the
did you see
splinter
that?
into the
Did you see
statue.
that? she's look at that. She's looking at him. She's looking at his mouth. She's not looking.
All right, guy. This time I'll bring it up there.
Just put the game down and just talk about how long you guys have been dating. You know, when did you realize that you thought he was awesome?
Get the relic in there. Nice.
There we are. Now, to fill the statue with essence. Do me the honor of pulling the lever, just there. And my lord will
All right, let's do
return
it.
to face justice. Any moment. Oh. My god Aethys, are you there? No, it's not working.
How long was he working on this again?
A few years.
Oof, this is going to be awkward conversation.
Yeah. Let's see what he has to say.
My lord Aethys has not returned. Something is missing from my design. Something I did not account for. It must be the chime.
Yeah, it's like an analogy to this entire presentation. You've worked on it a really long time, and it's just not working. Thank you for the 10-spot share, Bruce Lee. Can we get a Friday night game night with these two? That's what I'm saying. I just want to have them on a podcast and be like, so, you know, what do you guys do in your spare time? Where's your favorite place to eat? You know, where do you guys like to go out on dates?
Aethys, Sargemas has a chime given to him by Aethys. As a godlike of an unknown god, we also have a chime. So what he's essentially asking us is, will you give up what makes you special and die for my experiment? And at this point, we have a few options. We can say, sure, Sargemas, I would love to die for your statue. Or we can try to convince him that actually he should die. As a god like Aethys, Aethys is probably going to want his chime and not mine. Or we can attack him. I kind of want to attack him.
You want to attack him?
I want to attack him. He's got a glowing sword. I want that sword.
Yes, we've been too nice to him today.
There's nothing to fear. You won't feel a thing.
Give him a moment
good luck.
to get settled.
Ooh, he's fast.
He is fast. See, he's just acting like he's old. He's not that old.
Building up some good stun.
I'm a little out of breath. Ooh, I'm out of breath. Sir, please stop.
Kai doing some work.
I'm
no.
okay.
All right, second wind is activated.
Second wind.
We're up.
See, still not a death,
Down but not out.
Not a death.
Bristling Frost activated. That should do some frost
go.
accumulation, Arcane Veil, and Corrosive Siphon. Nice.
Kai will take some of the aggro.
Kai is using his companion ability. Now he's drawn the aggression. That's going to be really helpful for us.
Grenade action.
Little power attack, grenade.
Boom. Kai gets that.
Oh.
Perfect. Perfect.
Well done.
They'll put that in.
Well done.
Thank you.
Let's loot his body.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right, he's got a great sword. Last Light of Day. Can we equip that, please?
Of course. Ooh.
Beautiful. All right. So that's not the end of this quest, but it is the end of our time together. So thank you so much for looking at Avowed. We were so excited to show this to you, and we hope you play it on February 18th. Thank you so much.
Aura History Untold, a 4X grand strategy game spanning the ages.
I don't have words, man. I feel kind of bad for them because they seem like nice people. They seem super interested in their game and the lore, and the execution is just an absolute snooze fest. Like, I cannot even it was so slow, so non-impactful, so boring. That was truly bad. It makes me honestly feel bad for them. I don't know what or how they ended up where they did with the decisions that they made, but man, oh man, that was bad.
Check.
Yeah, check. Done. But the booth has just been a really fantastic experience. Getting to actually let people play hands-on with the game, experience the game it's the way it was meant to be played, and just feel like they could become a leader.
100%. Well, we're going to do exactly that now. I cannot wait to see this live gameplay demo we're going to do. So I'm going to let you just kick things off, get us into the game, set the scene, and I'll check in when I'll get a little bit nosy.
Anytime. You're always welcome.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. So as you probably know, Aura History Untold is a historical grand strategy game. It bears a lot of DNA from your classic 4X genre and some of the other genres around, historical grand strategy. This is Xbox's first foray into this genre. It's honestly...
Kirk says I called this, just saying. Called what? Do you think you're the only person in chat that said combat looked bad and boring? I've been saying for the longest time that combat looked terrible. No impact, swinging through people. What do you mean you called this? You're not some prophet. We've all been saying this. Everybody. I don't know anybody who's actually been saying that Avowed looks good before now. I think we've all thought something's wrong, something's off from the very beginning.
Yes, so right now you can see I've got Shaka Zulu here as the...
Kirk's in a room full of Yankees fans being like, I told you the Yankees were going to win the pennant. It's like, what the frick?
Launches, we'll have over 30 leaders available to play from.
Wow.
But we only brought 10 with us to Gamescom this year.
So you can fit in the suitcase. I get it, yeah.
Exactly. Just gonna make room.
Yeah, Lone Wolf, you are aptly named. You're the only person I saw in chat saying that you thought it looked good. You are certainly, you have the appropriate name.
She gets big bonuses if she's next to River.
Lona, we debated Avowed on your show, and I was the one that said it looked bad and needed to be delayed. You didn't agree. That's completely untrue and false. I never once said that it shouldn't be delayed. I said that I thought Indiana Jones was the most shaky given the development timeline, and we were guessing which one should be delayed. I have never once said that Avowed looked good and should not be delayed. You are completely misrepresenting what I said. We were taking stabs and guessing at what would end up being delayed because of the delay of Stalker. And I was like, I feel like Indiana Jones is the one with the shakiest release date because I felt like it came out of nowhere in its release date I'm sorry, its development timeline was too short based on what Pete Hines said in 2021. I wasn't like, I disagree, Kirk. Avowed looks good, and they should not delay it. What'd you do? Did you drink before we did that show? I was in agreement with you that it looked rough and bad. I've never, ever said Avowed looked good. I said the graphics started to look better than their first showing, but the combat's always looked bad to me.
Off of that. Now, you get a deterministic seed, which is basically a number that you could put in, and as long as you have the same options at the same seed, it'll generate the same map, which means that if you fall in love with a map, I fall in love with a map, we can share it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, awesome. And
right.
what was the size of the map we went on here? Because I know, especially when we call this a grand strategy game and referring to some of the other games you've mentioned already, map size and scale and detail is so important. So A, what are we doing today? And B, what options do you have there?
Yeah, so honestly, the game has a number of different maps.
You were harsher on it? Okay, I mean, if you want credit for being harsher on it, I mean, I guess take a bow. I have not once disagreed with anybody who has said that Avowed doesn't look good, that the combat doesn't look good. I don't have a single piece of content where I said that, yeah, dude, Avowed looks great, can't wait to play. I've continued to say I want to see third-person gameplay. I really want to see that combat have more impact and have more result from stabs and swings. And I've never seen it. I don't think it's ever looked good, not once.
Oh, you know, and then come back and it still wouldn't be my turn.
Absolutely. So what's this exposition that we just got at the beginning of? And also Act 1 is an interesting thing to read.
Yeah, so in our history Untold, the game is broken into 3 acts.
Okay.
Now, you play the same leader from the very beginning of the game all the way to the modern era. When we say a history untold, what we're talking about is the untold history of this alternate Earth, this alternate life of this alternate ruler. And so you play the same history, you play the same ruler, the same nation.
Okay.
You take them from the beginning of the first agrarian, the first farms, all the way to the modern era, and even a little bit into the singularity age.
Oh, God. Okay, well, let's
together.
jump in. I want to see this first bit, and I'm picking up on that singularity bit because that sounds wild.
All right, so one of the first things you probably notice is that Aura has a kind of a different presentation. You know, a lot of these games are inspired by board games, you know, hexes, tiles, and I love those. But with Aura, we really wanted to deliver the player fantasy of being a leader of a real world, the choices you make. And so there are things like organic borders, so where the river goes is where the natural borders are.
Oh, I love that.
And you could do other things like if you zoom out and look around, sometimes you'll see mountain peaks out in the distance because your people could see those mountains. For right now, though, it looks like we have a nice little temperate forest here, some plains that are lovely. We've got some grains available, and we can zoom all the way down and see.
Oh my goodness, you get so close.
Yeah, there's some wheat growing over here, and then if I zoom in over here, you can see some rice that I could turn into some rice farms.
Yeah, I mean, you guys in chat that are trying to say, like, you know, what the issue is with Avowed. I mean, I couldn't tell you, right? I don't know. I'm just saying I called it, that's all. Called what, Kirk? What did you call? That the game looked bad? You are literally in a stream and in a community of people who have been saying Avowed looks bad from the beginning. Like, I get it that when somebody makes a prediction, they want their flowers, but homie, you're literally in a room full of people that have said Avowed look bad since the beginning. You're like, yep, called it, looks bad. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, of all the games to want flowers for, Avowed? Like, I don't think anybody in here aside from Lone Wolf is disagreeing with you. I don't think even back when you did your predictions, like, nobody was like, oh, you're wrong, Kirk. Avowed looks lit. I can't wait to play it. Like, that's why I'm like, what do you mean you called it? Called what? Nobody, I don't think anybody was disagreeing with you that it looked bad. I think we were debating, like, which game should be delayed. Would delaying even help at this point? Like, seriously, like, what do you honestly think is going to happen for Avowed between when it was supposed to launch in November and when it actually launches in February? Like, do you honestly think they're going to make drastic changes? Like, what do you think that delay is going to do? Virtually nothing. We had 2 shows where I was the strongest arguer that it was bad, but that's fine. I'm already I'm just so fully I don't even know how to respond to that.
Oh, there are people working away at the thing.
Whistling away. Good stuff.
Yeah, over here I've got my great hearth, which is sort of the center of our power right now, where our leader lives. Then if I go back over here, I see my scout is over here. Now, I'm going to send my scout to hunt these wolves.
Ooh, okay.
Hunting a predator is about clearing the lands for you to be able to use, and I'm definitely going to want to build farms over here, with the rivers and Nefertiti's abilities.
100%.
Beyond that, when you hunt animals, you also can end up getting some early resources. And so you can see the little guys going in there, getting ready to hunt the wolves.
Good
The wolves
luck,
running
guys.
away. But the value of this is going to be that I'll send back furs, possibly food, maybe even feasts that could help
Very good.
boost my city's power. So
Yeah, nice.
the next thing we're going to do is pick a technology.
Ooh, okay.
All right, so I'm going to let you pick, right?
Oh, Matt. Okay, here we go. I'm sitting straight. Let's hear it.
So we're in the ancient...
Kirk's got to be trolling. I mean, the only reason I'm getting annoyed with him is it's like I have never once been kind to that game. I mean, I think the nicest thing I ever said was, oh, the graphics look a little bit better now. I have been very critical of that game since the beginning. So when you're like, called it, I'm like, huh? Like, you weren't convincing anybody. I think we were all in agreement with you that it looked bad. We might have had a disagreement about like what should be delayed, and like I didn't think a delay would change anything. It's like it's too far along in development. Like, what are they honestly going to change other than trying to make the combat not feel so like stunted? That's why I'm like, what? I'm genuinely confused. Like, I don't think we were in disagreement. I felt like we were in agreement that the game looked terrible, or that the game looked bad, or whatever word you want to use. I just probably didn't agree with the delay because I was thinking, like, what in the world? It isn't going to change anything. Just get the game out at this point. It's that you're not going to from November to February. Nothing's going to change that significantly. That's not enough time to do anything.
What's a good option for first-time players? Is it animal husbandry? Is that the route you would typically kind of recommend people go for?
Well, honestly, there are a lot of different...
I'm not even arguing who has a better track record. What I'm saying is putting out this energy of like, yep, called it. It's like, called what? We were in agreement. There was no called it. I think like chat that day was agreeing that like, yes, it just doesn't look very good. It wasn't like, I don't remember him getting pushback. I don't remember it. Maybe he's experiencing it differently because maybe there were people in chat that were disagreeing with him, and so maybe he saw it more than I did. I largely saw people agreeing with him, and I know that I was, that it just has never looked very good. I've always felt like the combat looked like slow and non-impactful. And then what they showed us today, I would argue what they showed us today actually looked worse than when they did their trailers, because when they do their trailers, they like splice up real quick swings and real quick spell casting. But when you see it raw and uncut and you just watch that guy navigate a room and he had to fight like 5 different targets, it was everything that I was concerned about. The last time we talked about Avowed, I said I feel like all of the trailers, everything's spliced up, like they don't want you to see how bad the combat is, so it's all highly edited. So it's like I want to see like just go into an area and get into a lengthy fight. We got to see it today, and I just don't think it looks good at all. There's no flow to it at all. It all looked slow and plodding. I don't understand why they thought that. I think first person's a weird choice, but then I also think just the speed of the game and the flow of combat is just bizarre. It's very, very bizarre. If it was a top-down ARPG, it would feel bad. It just doesn't feel like there didn't feel like there was any expediency or urgency. They were like, oh, second wind, whoa, and we were like, I don't even know what happened. Like an icon popped up. You know what I mean? I remember when they first showed the gameplay and Lono was saying it looked mad different from the teaser from a vibe perspective. Mad different. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, when they changed the art style, and I was like, yeah, it kind of looked a little bit like Sea of Thieves. Yeah. I was more zeroing in on the art style at that point in time because I felt like we went from that very first trailer where it felt like we were going to get some kind of like next-gen Skyrim, and then the first trailer they showed with the guy like walking down the dock, it was like, huh? This looks like Sea of Thieves with, an uptick in detail. And I was like, oh my gosh, this looks kind of rough. And then the very next trailer, I was like, oh, it looks a little bit better. I said, graphically, it looks better. I was like, but the combat just didn't look good. I don't feel the combat's ever looked good. I wasn't intending to make a stream about me or debate that point, so I feel awkward now. I believe your POV shifted after the second showing. You said things looked more promising. And I was like, absolutely not. This game is Paduki. You'd rather play Skyrim again than this. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch. My recollection is I have never said that the game looked good. I said that the graphics looked better because at their first showing, it was like, what the heck's going on? Like the spiders looked better, the fire looked better, the different particle effects looked better. But I had been consistently saying that the combat looks terrible. I'm not sure if we passed in the night or if you were reading chat and misheard me. I don't think I've ever said that game looks worth a darn. I mean, that's where I feel like we were in agreement on the game's quality. I just thought, delay a game. I was like, I don't think that's going to do anything. I honestly thought Indiana Jones was going to get delayed because when Pete Hines said in the middle of 2021, the game was only in very, very, very early production. I just didn't think there was enough time between then and now to have a nice full big AAA launch.
Is the end of the game to conquer and wipe everyone off the map, or is it to have the most farm?
I agree with that. I was just trying to say I called it, but yes, to a lesser extent, you called. I'm done talking to you about this.
Wait, what are you trying to do along the way?
It's a totally valid question. It's really good. To win an Aura History Untold, your goal is simply to become the most prestigious nation on the planet. You want to earn the most prestige. You want to be a nation that is known to the ends of time and that everybody will learn about and talk about all the way throughout history. So you can earn prestige many, many different ways. Everything you do has some form of an impact. For example, right now, most of the prestige I've earned is from the quality of life of my citizens. I've been providing them good goods. I've been farming, making sure they have enough food and everything. And because of that, I've been slowly earning prestige over time.
Okay.
When I was to create a religion, the more my religion spreads, the more I empower the religion by having more powers, which are called verses in the game, which give you new abilities. The more of those that I have, and the more that I can convert other nations to my religion, the more prestige I would gain from that. And you can do it through military, you can do it through commerce, and
I love the idea that there's someone making notes going.
Black Myth Wukong has announced they've sold 10 million copies. That's insane.
Things about the prestige system is you can pivot over time.
Okay.
In the first act with Nefertiti, maybe I'll work really hard on spreading my religion, but then maybe in the middle eras, in the early medieval ages or something, I'll rush iron and rush into swordsmen and rush into knights and try to do some conquering. And then as I get into the third act, maybe I'll start producing masterpieces.
Oh, okay.
But you can do all of these things, and then you end up in this stack with the other societies. You can
You can constantly see where you're stacking.
Absolutely. And you can understand how you're earning prestige and where it's coming from and how you maybe could be doing better. One of the other innovations...
Forgettable!
Very sad.
Oh my,
Very
if I ever find myself there, I think I would cry.
Well, you wouldn't have to cry for long because at the end...
I can boot up a new go and start again.
Always. But also at the end of every act, the forgettable nations are actually culled from the game. It is a unique feature in Aura that allows the game to sort of consolidate the world, make the super... So when you get to the third act in an 8-player game, for example, you'll have 4 players, the superpowers. They'll all be what's left, and everything else will have been kind of forgotten to history. In Act 2, we'll lose 2 nations, and then all of a sudden there will be a rush on all of their incredible findings, all the ruins of their nations, all the stuff that was left behind, and people will be in that kind of age of exploration.
Wow, okay, I love that. So what I want to do now is a little birdie told me that you've actually prepped what an end version. Is it Act 3 we're jumping to? Is it Act 2? Where are we going to be checking out now?
All right, so we're going to go into a Act 3 save that was done where I was playing as Joan of Arc.
Paul sent me something here about Avowed saying there was talk of, do we stop work on Outer Worlds 2 and just throw the whole team at Avowed? And Grounded wasn't early access yet during some of these conversations. And so Paul's thinking that one of the main issues with Avowed is that they've never really had the full weight of the studio on it. Like, it's like a smaller team's project, which it kind of makes sense. Like, everything we saw today, like, the vibe had very much like a smaller game, kind of like a more indie style game. It didn't have this big AAA RPG banner title feel to it, and that maybe that's why they haven't had a very large team working on it. At least that's what that one interview seems to indicate, is rather than stopping their work on Outer Worlds 2 and putting everybody on Avowed, they decided not to do that. At least that's how that interview reads. You know?
No, it wasn't either of those. Actually, it was a giant bird, and you're both wrong, and now you get more religion spread, but then you deteriorate the relationship. Here, this costs stone for you to be able to build out the Prince-Smith and create the statues necessary. In this one, you need timber to be able to do the things.
I mean, I would think that Outer Worlds 2 fans would be excited about that, Kirk, but anybody who likes Pillars of Eternity probably isn't too thrilled that Avowed seemingly got short, the short end of the stick.
Tell him to go away. It's fine. I can see it has a detrimental relationship
That's
effect,
okay.
but it's fine. This is my world, and they're living in it.
It is now the Book of Charlieism is written, and
Yes.
we have that. And unfortunately, that'll mean these tribal warriors might be mad at us. These guys might be a little bit bitter. Is their current diplomatic status?
That's fine.
It'll
We'll
be
deal
fine.
with them later. It's
Yeah.
all good. Right.
We don't have to deal with them
Take
because
me to the future.
we're going to go to another game. So this is in a bit of a war-torn world. It's in the information age, but some things have fallen behind a little bit because of the amount of war, and now it's kind of settled into sort of a firm Cold War state. But you'll see different prestige for the different rulers, and you'll also see a mix of different layers of industrial, of modern, as well as...
I cannot wait for this.
So you can see right here, there's a farm that's a little bit different, and we'll zoom out.
Whoa! It's so different. Look at that.
And that is the city of Paris. You can see the old city walls that were built up in medieval times are still there because you wouldn't see those knocked down in real life. You can see different buildings and improvements. If I zoom out further, you see the world's been much more explored. And
Absolutely.
you can kind of start to see it from, that airplane view if you were flying over it. Over here, we have one of our great triumphs. Triumphs take up an entire region and build housing around them. This is the Amphitheater of El Jem in Tunisia. It is this incredible Colosseum that was built by the Romans in the ancient times that provides a lot of different benefits to your society.
It's glowing as well.
Oh yeah, our triumphs, we always throw a little bit of a sheen on them, a little bit of
that's
magic.
gorgeous.
And then if we move around, you can see there's some horse track there providing some value.
The way, how close you can get down with a camera,
yeah,
I'm in
absolutely.
absolute awe. Oh my goodness me.
This would be what a wheat farm would look like in this era as well. So the different crops also have different appearance as well. This is a stone pit that's currently producing iron.
Nice.
So this is sort of an industrial mine, and you can see the industrial diggers there. And then you can always go into your nested tooltips and say, okay, iron, what do I use iron for? Oh, I know, I use it to craft telescopes or steel. What do I use steel for? I need steel for a lot of things.
goodness
I'm going to be
me.
using that steel to make
a toilet.
metal pots, indoor toiletry, different things that I can use as amenities that I can use to craft other buildings. For example, I need these machine parts to be able to make a large particle collider. Or I would need these machine parts if I wanted to craft the SRS 8000, which is one of the world's largest excavators that was ever built.
I want one of them, please.
Yeah, just one of those.
God, there's just no point where you're not informed of the decisions you're making, and you can really take time with it because
you
as
have
soon as
to.
you're done, absolutely, and you can delete the bits and pieces along the way and make it good.
Yeah, and you can see the borders here with the German state where we had originally had some wars. You can see the city of RJ still has some military units in there. It also has some interesting things. There's a triumph here. I think we have the Statue of Liberty. We have a lighthouse there leading our ships into shore. There's just a lot going on everywhere you look.
There
you can
really
zoom in and
is.
see. And now, it looks complex because it is. This is a core game for core gamers, for strategy gamers. It's a love letter to them. But we've tried to create a lot of things like those nested tooltips, and of course the Encarta, we brought it back, that show you all of the different ways to play, all the different supplies in the game, the people you can find, everything else. So.
Oh, that's so good. And it feels like a juxtaposition to say it, looking at the screen we're looking at here, but this demo only shows a small fraction of the game, right?
We have barely touched upon
Are there
it.
any other elements that you want to very briefly talk about now before everyone dives in?
I'll just show you this little airplane.
Yeah, okay. There it is.
As the world continues, as it grows, there are all those details. You remember those wolves we saw in the ancient era? Now it's replaced by ATVs and airplanes and hot
the
air
natural
balloons.
evolution of a wolf
Exactly.
to an airplane.
Yeah, that's how they grew, I think. And
It
then,
is, yeah.
and then dinosaurs came after that, right? It was
Yeah, that's
wolf,
it, yeah.
airplane, and then Tyranids.
And Tyranids, yes.
I love those whittle Tyranids.
Oh, amazing. Matt, I can't thank you enough. This game is firmly on my download queue. I cannot wait to check it out, and I love that you've come here to talk to me about it. Have you had a nice time?
I've had an incredible time talking with you. I love talking with people who love this genre, and I've had so much of an opportunity to do that at Gamescom. I'm going to continue to do it all through the weekend. I'm going to be in the booth and talking to all the fans and the players, and I can't wait for it to come out on September 24th. You can pre-order it now. You can wishlist it. It's day one in PC Game Pass, of course.
Amazing. Another check. Good job. Thank you, Matt. Wonderful.
Cool. Well, thanks so much once again. You can get your hands, just as he said, on September 24th on PC Game Pass. But we're nearly ready to wrap things up. I'm going to show you one more trailer from the show. It's a sequel of epic side-scrolling proportions. This is Tales of Iron 2.
Oh, this looks good.
Our world was not ready for their cruelty, their barbarity. An ancient evil from a forgotten time, a forgotten place. Bewinged devils. They feast without fill, kill without reason, and will not stop until the world burns in blood. Fight fire with fire, they say, but one rat can brave the blaze. Wield the flame with a bloodlust even greater than their own. Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter.
Oh, just so many great interviews on this stage the last 3 days. We've just had a blast, haven't we?
It's been so good, Bex. And remember, with Xbox Game Pass and Game Pass for PC, you can get new games on day one, like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on October 25th, play some of the biggest games of the year, and unlock partner benefits from Riot Games and EA Play. If you are not already a Game Pass member, join now and get your first month of PC Game Pass for $1 or €1. This offer is not going to last long, though, so you need to act now.
So until next time, thank you so much for watching und auf Wiedersehen!
Auf
Yeah, I think the host did. I think all the hosts did a fine job with what they had to work with. I mean, I don't mind when someone tries to make something exciting or laugh or, you know, show an interest in what's going on. But yeah, you'll never watch another Gamescom. I think it's fine. I think the problem is you could have taken what they did over the course of 3 days. They could have done all that in 1 day and cut every interview down by a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's like I enjoy watching game trailers and hearing about games and learning about games that I ordinarily wouldn't think of. We actually saw some cool games this week. You know, we actually saw some gameplay of things that, you know, I added to my wish list. But when it's like it's all this super drawn out stuff, it's like that really long, you know, gameplay section with Avowed. Like, I can't believe, didn't Destin say he played Avowed and he thought it was really good, and like somebody asked him, they were like, well, is it good like Redfall was good, or good like Sea of Thieves? And he was like, oh, it's good like Sea of Thieves. You know, I don't. They got Naughty Dog tweeting about Concord. Oh my gosh. That is that's hilarious. They're really trying their best to get Concord, like, moving. Goodness gracious. I don't think Concord has a chance. I really don't. When's Space Marine releasing? Justin said he loved it. Yeah, but you would think that people would learn their lesson, like, after what happened with Redfall. Like, I don't know why you would say that. Like, what we saw today, I'm like, I don't know how on earth you could say that you loved Avowed. Everything about it, you know. I put this out there early. Thank you for being the one to stream this, because Gamescom's boring AF. Otherwise, your commentary is way more entertaining. I mean, I try not to talk over it too much, and I try not to have too many debates, but it's like, it's more enjoyable to spar with you guys sometimes than to sit through some of the long interviews. I really hope, given the success of Black Myth Wukong, though, they really dedicate themselves to making the console version better. This Gamescom sucked. They could have canceled this year's Gamescom. So bad it was. I mean, I thought it was fine. We also only watched one side of the event. We watched, Jeff Keighley, and then we watched the Xbox stuff. So, I didn't think it was that bad. I think that, like I said, I think Xbox could have condensed everything down into like 2 days, and they could have basically cut all the interviews in half, and it would have been more effective, and I think it would have been more just respectful of people's time. Last year was better. I don't remember a distinct difference between last year and this year. I tend to go into these events with, more mediocre expectations. I don't expect E3. I don't expect the years of hype that we used to get. I just expect them to be more mid-level shows these days. Yeah. The Xbox showcase was probably the strongest event of the year so far. And and we know that that's something that they seemingly put a lot of time into. I don't think it's meant for people to watch 4 to 5 hours straight for 3 days. It's meant for you to peek in on your most anticipated game. Yeah. Sorry for making that not enjoyable. I mean, Kirk, I know it's going to be, spun up into Lono and Kirk fight over who called it. I wasn't even trying to be like, nuh-uh, I called it. It was like, it just came off like, yep, called it, to a group of people that I don't think needed convincing from the very beginning. I may not have been as scathing as you, because I didn't want to have like an hour and a half long show where we both just bashed on Avowed. Yeah, it sucks, looks like trash, looks bad. You ratcheting things up to a level 10 doesn't mean that I was in like disagreement. I think we largely felt the same about the game. That's why I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. We gave you credit on the delay because you were like, that's the game they should delay. So we did a show where we said Avowed called it, and we said Kirk said this was the one that should be delayed. He nailed it, right? We gave you credit. As far as the quality of the game and the boredom of the gameplay, that's where I was like, what do you mean? Like, I feel like we've always, all of us largely, with very few exceptions in my community, I think we've all been in agreement that the game just looks really rough, And I remember, Kirk, when you and I went and looked at the deep dive footage, and even you were like, why wouldn't they show this instead of what they showed? Because you felt like it looked better because it showed like the weight of the weapons moving the characters. And I remember being like, I don't think it looks that much better. I remember us even having that discussion where you felt like the deep dive looked a little bit better than the trailer, and you weren't sure why they wouldn't show it. And I was like, I don't even think the deep dive looks that good. Like, I've consistently felt like the weapons look like they just passed through the enemies, just like, phew, phew. I've quoted Skillup a couple of times. He always said in Biomutant, it felt like you're punching a pillow. And that's largely how I felt Avowed has looked, like very punching a pillow. Xbox shows its next disappointing game after 5 disappointing games in a row. And Kirk's like, I called it. Come on. You know what I mean? Bonus stream, Lono and Kirk box. No, I give people their flowers when they call something and I'm like, I got it wrong. You were right. I 100% do that, right? I give people their flowers when they call something. Like, Kirk didn't even want to do that show where we said called it, because I was like, homie, you called it. You were like, they should delay this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do. I give people their flowers. But with that, but with Avowed, oh my gosh, I was like, I was like, I've been on this game for a while, dude. I felt like this game looks bad, you know? Oh, I remember when we said, is it another Redfall? Is it another Redfall? I think maybe that's when you felt like they should have showed the deep dive combat. And I do have an upload that said, Avowed gameplay looks better 7 months ago. And I said that it looked a bit rough, but now it looks improved. I felt like it did. I felt like from their first showing to the second showing, there was improvement. It's like, yeah, it looks better. Because the first time it came out, I've got a video that says, it looks bad. And then we did a video about how they dropped co-op, because they did that documentary where they said they dropped co-op, and it seemed to be because of the quest design. They didn't want to lose sort of that quest design that they're so good at, because there's like, you know, single player quest design is a little bit different than co-op quest design. So, yeah. If anything, I don't think the delay is going to help it either. You know? Lono could probably beat me in a boxing match, not even going to cap. I've actually wanted to get into boxing. I've wanted to train in boxing, because I feel like I would enjoy it. It's also nice when, you know, somebody wants to start being belligerent in public and you want to, you know, protect your family. Seen some of those videos where, like, somebody clearly knows how to throw a punch, and it's not the guy that goes boom and then falls down. Just bam. Lona's going to disavow Avowed. Man. Creature was definitely the first to crap all over Avowed, like 1 second after the launch trailer. Creature called it. I remember the trailer, Hilly, where the guy's like walking on the dock, and we were like, what is this? What is this? And when the guy started doing magic with his hands, I was like, is this Avowed? Like, we were all like, what is, because it looked so different. Like, the whole art style of the game changed. We were like, is this Avowed? It was so weird. The delay is going to help it for sure. Game Pass is getting Indiana Jones, Black Ops 6, and other games this holiday season. Avowed is that first of the year hit. I don't think Avowed's going to hit anything other than the toilet water. It looked like crap to me. You know, I don't know. Black Ops 6 is multi-plat, so I don't need Game Pass to play Black Ops 6. And Indiana Jones, I have a lot of concerns about the quality of that game. I feel like the dev cycle's been too short. I feel like first person's a really weird decision for Indiana Jones. I don't know, man. I'm really not seeing a strong lineup for Xbox outside of, I feel like the Black Ops 6 campaign looks really, really strong. I feel like it's going to be dope. I love Black Ops 1 story. I think Black Ops 6 looks like it's going to have a really cool story, you know. But that's, to me, that's not, I don't look at that and think of that as an Xbox title. That game is everywhere. That's not a reason for me to turn on my Xbox, you know. It just isn't. It's not a reason for me to turn on my Xbox. Black Ops 6, it's like it makes more sense for me right now, given everything that's transpired. It makes more sense to me to add Black Ops 6 to my PlayStation library than to play it on Game Pass. Stalker 2. I forgot about Stalker 2. I'm sorry. Stalker 2 is getting a lot of praise. We're hearing it run 60 FPS on the Series X. Funny enough, all the crap those Xbox boys talked all year, and a non-first party studio is going to come in and save the day and be their best release this year, right? Their best exclusive. The best exclusive this year for Xbox isn't even going to be a first party studio. It's going to be Stalker 2. Just you watch. It's going to be better than Hellblade 2, that's for sure. And Black Ops 6 is not an exclusive. So the best exclusive this year is going to be a non-first party studio as far as we can tell. Lona gets hit during a boxing match. What the frick? Jiminy Christmas. Yeah, Stalker 2 is a timed exclusive. It's still an exclusive, but, you know, yeah, it's just a timed exclusive. Still, it's funny to me. It's funny to me. Out here acting like the cock of the walk and being like, yeah, PlayStation doesn't have any games. None of those are first-party studios. Where are your first-party studios at? Where are your exclusives? Where are they? Because Black Ops 6 is an exclusive, so you're going to get Stalker 2, which, there you go, you know, suck down your own medicine. That's not a first-party studio. And it's only exclusive for like 3 months, by the way. Wham, disagree. I get punched in the mouth. I'm like, disagree. I blocked that. I think Stalker 2 looks good. It's got a vibe. It's got like a feel. It's got a tone. And I think that's hard to pull off in a first-person post-apocalyptic shooter because there are so many games kind of in that vein. And I do. I think Stalker 2 looks good. And I kept saying, you know, my main concern with Stalker 2 is performance because of all the delays and like the lighting looked like it had degraded quite a bit from trailer to trailer. But the good news is I would rather have lighting degrade from trailer to trailer so that we can get standard output at 60 instead of being like, our lighting's amazing and we doubled the frames with frame gen like the frickin' Black Myth Wukong devs have done. Remember when the Xbox Showcase hyped everyone up so bad and they have released basically nothing all year? Yeah, it's the same thing every year. The most exciting thing for the Xbox fans is the dadgum Showcase. It's not the games. It's not the releases. You know? It's not the cadence of games. It's not the quality of the games. You know, Hellblade 2 is not at all the triumph that everybody wants to claim that it is. It was incredibly short. It wasn't as good as the first game. Combat was not as good as the first game. Puzzles were not as good as the first game. The game length was not as good as the first game. Hellblade 2 is inferior to the first game. So it's like I wouldn't even try to celebrate that. And nobody even really seems to try to anymore. If you watch the debates on Twitter, like nobody even brings up Hellblade 2. Don't know when get hit. This parry system sucks. I don't know if I've ever said a parry system sucks. I would say dropped inputs. You have to wait and do a comparison video of Indiana Jones. It could be like how Call of Duty Black Myth and Stellar Blade went with their graphic story and immersion and lore. I'm not sure what you mean. I think the Hellblade 2 story was pretty great, but I agree the game was not as good. Oh no, from a storytelling perspective, Hellblade 2 is horrendous. It's horrendous. There's like virtually no character arc or development for Senua at all. She the way her attitude and the way she behaves in the beginning is virtually the same as it is at the end. I don't feel like she changes such a small amount. She completely and utterly transforms in the first game. In the second game, her character arc barely moves. It's like, okay, she's basically the same as she was at the beginning of the game. Resolute, strong, and wanting to fight. Cool, man. Wow, that's a heck of a character arc for Senua there. Wow. It feels like they left out half of a game. It feels like something's supposed to happen. It does. At the end of Hellblade 2, it literally feels like that's supposed to be the turning point. Like she's gonna get humbled, or she's gonna lose her power, or lose something. It's like you're waiting for a humbling moment of like, is she gonna get? Is anything gonna happen here? Like, it's so disappointing. As you said, it's a tech demo. Yeah, it's a tech demo. I don't think the passion is not. This is how I'm gonna frame it when I think about Hellblade 2. They poured their passion into the technology, not into the game. And you can sense it. You can. Melina Juergens brought her A game once again. She is a tour de force. She is one of the best performers in video games ever. But the studio, as far as like where they focus their efforts, they became really, really passionate about the technology, and the passion for the game just wasn't there. You can feel the passion in the first game. You can feel it. You can feel it in the writing, in the way that the scenes are set up. When they do the documentary about how they made the game, there was so much passion into, we want this story and experience and journey to be so good. And then Hellblade 2, they were like, well, we really focused on the technology. And it's like, okay. The new Xbox consoles have 0 improvements and are still 7 what is that, nanometer? I'll give you one guess why. Why? Nolan North? Yeah, I mean, I think she's one of the best. I don't know if I would say that she's the best, but yeah, she's definitely one of the best. She's really, really good. The tech made them $23 million. What do you mean? Because of the studio space? Didn't we read that, like, basically the studio space and what they invested in, like, they basically invested in that for their, like, that's their future contribution, is their studio space and the mocap? They didn't sell enough of the original models. They have tons of 7nm chips to get rid of. They didn't sell enough hardware, and there's a surplus on chips. And they're on the hook for the orders. Oh my gosh. Let's see how I wonder how Windows Central addresses the 30 FPS thing for Avowed. You know, Hansen said, it's a first-person single-player game. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames. Don't you tell me what I don't need. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know, it's a first-person single-player game. You don't necessarily need the 60 frames. Yes, I do, Hansen. I do. I need every single one of them. Not 58, not 59. I need all 60. That's what I need. You understand me? Meanwhile, players are physically attending Gamescom. We're able to do hands-on with Monster Hunter Wilds. While playing on PlayStation 5, attendees noted that the demo was 30 FPS. Games developed for PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X tend to get the same modes across both consoles, with exceptions primarily surrounding 120. So is Monhun Wilds going to be 30 as well? I kept saying when they showed gameplay, the frames per second looked kind of funky. This continues a trend over the last year, with more and more games that launch across current-gen systems limiting frame rate options. I'm going to help you. I'm just going to act as your editor, Windows Central. This continues as a trend over the last year, with more and more Xbox first-party games that launch across current-gen systems limiting their frame rate options. It's not a trend in the industry. Can we stop saying that? Stop saying that. That isn't true. Can you list the other games aside from what, like Dragon's Dogma 2 and Gotham Knights or Plague Tale Requiem? A whopping 3? A whopping 3 that are hitting consoles with like less than 60 performance? Where's this trend? It's not a trend, but it's not exclusive to Xbox. Yeah, but Plague Tale and Gotham Knights are at this point, that's ancient history. This says over the last year. Over the last year. So over the last year, it's literally just Dragon's Dogma, Hellblade, and then if you dip into last year, it's Starfield, it's Redfall, it's Xbox games. What are we even talking about here? Wuchang? No, Ronin was not a 30 FPS game, and Ronin didn't have an absence of frame rate options. Ronin had a frame rate option. The sentence is, this continues as a trend over the last year, with more and more games that launch across current generations being limited in frame rate options. What do you mean more and more games? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What more and more games? This year, over the last year, where are these more and more games? What do you mean? For Xbox first-party titles, Hellblade 2, Starfield, and Redfall all launched at 30. All right? The trend has been present in third-party games as well. Plague Tale, Requiem, and Gotham Knights. I'm going to let you know a little secret. Those games didn't come out over the last year. Gotham Knights release date is 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Plague Tale Requiem launched 2 years ago. Both of those games launched in October of 2022. Are we going to try to claim this as a trend? More and more games. More and more games. These two third-party games 2 years ago did it. Huh? Oh, and Plague Tale's been updated with 60. Yeah, sure. Just like Starfield got the update as well. That's my point. Is like, what are you talking about? Yeah, Dragon's Dogma is the only one you could point to say in the last year it was basically they gave you a performance mode, but it was the stupidest performance mode ever. It was an unlocked 30. I don't know why you would do that. Like, there is not a trend over the last year of more and more games if your proof is 2 third-party games from 2 years ago and then all the other games are Xbox games. Right? Now you want to include Dragon's Dogma. Okay, you can include Dragon's Dogma. That's fine. And then you want to include Monhun Wilds. For whatever reason, I don't know why Capcom is not prioritizing 60. You'd have to ask them that. So, and now Avowed gets added to the pile. As far as I can tell, Xbox is the one leading the charge in 30 FPS games. Gotham Knights got ridiculed? Yeah, Gotham Knights got ridiculed for 30. I'm taking issue with a sentence that says, over the past year, more and more games are doing this. No. Over the last year, it's not more and more games. 2 years ago, Gotham Knights and Plague Tale Requiem did it. Plague Tale has recently been patched, or has already been patched. It's not even recent. It has been patched up to 60. So this more and more games, you're trying to make it look like it's an industry trend. It's not an industry trend. That's false. There's no trend in the industry right now of games coming out at 30. There is a handful of games that are doing this. A handful. And most of that handful are Xbox first-party games. Yeah, Avowed's confirmed at 30, Kirk. They said so in an interview. That's why that article exists. It's like, here we go again. Instead of just getting out the bat and saying what needs to be said, we got to do this obfuscation hand wave of like, yeah, well, you know, the industry, there's a trend over the last year in the industry of 30 FPS games. The industry. No, it's not. That's not true. If it were true, you'd have a laundry list of games that have been doing it, not 2 games from 2 years ago and Dragon's Dogma 2. That's all you've got, is you've got 2 games from 2 years ago and then Dragon's Dogma 2. All the other games that are launching at 30 are Xbox games. And yes, to their credit, Redfall and Starfield got 60 FPS updates, but if you're trying to argue that the industry is launching 30 FPS games, then list the titles. Where are they? What are they? What are you talking about? I've played games with performance modes that aren't that good. Jedi Survivors, then it got fixed. Ronin's performance mode was inconsistent. I wouldn't say that it was quality. Final Fantasy XVI's performance mode was good in combat, bad in exploration. Black Myth Wukong's performance mode is arguably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen a studio do. But those don't fit your description. That your description is there's a trend over the last year of more and more games launching without performance modes. That is false. That is not true. That's an untrue statement. Stop saying every time Xbox missteps, we have to claim that it's what the industry's doing. What are we? No. Like, Phil Spencer could walk out and go on a horrible, hateful diatribe, and these people would be like, that's just the thing in the industry right now, these CEOs coming out and saying offensive things. Like, I swear, dude, on God, that would happen. Like, if Phil Spencer walked out and said something offensive, that would be the article headlines, continuing the industry trend of, fallen from grace CEOs, Phil Spencer joins a long list of history of CEOs saying offensive things. It's a real problem in the industry. It's like, Jiminy Christmas. You could push back and say it's better to release a patch for 60 than a broken 60. I would rather get a performance mode that doesn't run that great than not get one at all. Right? I would rather, obviously, the Jedi Survivor and the Black Myth Wukong are the worst examples, but I'd rather have a performance mode like I had in Ronin. Right? I'd rather have what I got in Ronin. Ronin wasn't great, but at least it worked. I would say when it mattered, it was 60. When I was in my fights, when I was in my combat, the open world and the horseback riding, yeah, it was irritating seeing it stutter here and there and not be smooth. But come on, I would rephrase it a little bit. Don't launch your game if you can't launch with the performance mode that works, right? Like that's how I would phrase it. Just don't launch it. Oh, it's better to launch it without performance mode. No, it's not. Don't launch your dadgum game then. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, if you want to write your article and say there's a pattern of games coming out with performance modes that don't work that well, Jedi Survivor, Rise of the Ronin, Final Fantasy VII 16, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? And then you want to say, and there's also games that are skipping performance modes entirely, then write that article. But don't write an article that makes a claim that is simply unfounded and untrue. There is not a pattern in the industry of more and more games over the last year coming out without a performance mode. That is simply untrue. Like, it's better to be specific because it's like it tries to paint this picture like, yeah, this is an industry-wide problem. We're just not getting performance modes. These consoles just aren't strong enough. And it's like, no, that's not what's going on. It isn't. Especially when the company leading the charge in games launching without a performance mode is Xbox. And we all know the reason why. It's the same reason games come to your platform late. Do we really need to keep spelling it out that it's the Series S? You can meme all you want, and when something bad happens in the industry, I can't believe the Series S did this. Look, you can turn that into a meme as a form of deflection, but the facts are the facts. You're getting third-party games late, and you're getting your own games with inferior settings because of the Series S. Pick up the card with the big black spade on it and call a spade a spade. Quit obfuscating. We got to sit here and listen to talking heads talk about how they feel misled and they didn't see this coming with Indiana Jones going to PlayStation 5, and these are the same people that are going to come out here and obfuscate and mislead and act like games launching at 30 FPS is an industry-wide problem. G-money Christmas. Grow a pair and shoot straight with people and cut the crap. It's tiring. Telling the truth is so much easier. It's so much easier. It's got to be exhausting to constantly come up with a way to restructure, repackage, and spin everything. Jiminy Christmas. You're getting games late. There was no secret exclusivity deal with Wuchang. There was no secret exclusivity deal. You're getting the game late because of the Series S. You're getting another first-party 30 FPS game because of the Series S. Call it what it is. Your audience will have more respect for just getting a straight answer. Don't sit here and get angry at Phil for a lack of a straight answer during the Xbox podcast in February when you won't even do your audience the respect of giving them a straight answer. You think Indiana Jones will be 30? Oh, I have no idea, brother. I have no idea. They haven't spoken to it. If the trend was 30, certainly we'd have more than one game on here. Yeah, out of the are these the top 20 games of the year so far? So the top 20 games of the year in 2024, only one of them has the frame rate issue, which is Dragon's Dogma 2. EA Sports College Football, Helldivers, Modern Warfare 3, EA Sports MVP Bundle, Elden Ring, MLB The Show, WWE 2K24. Now, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, again, we would say has issues with performance, but it has a performance mode. Tekken 8, Hogwarts Legacy, Madden, NBA, Suicide Squad, EA Sports, Persona 3, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, Sea of Thieves, Spider-Man 2. Right, like, I don't think the trend of not getting a performance mode is substantiated. You can't substantiate the claim. It's a bogus claim. And I don't get why people don't just say it. It's like, just say it. Say what it is. You're allowed to. It's like that scene. It's like that scene in The Dark Knight where Harvey Dent's like, what was that name? What was that nickname you guys had for me in Internal Affairs, right? And Commissioner Gordon's like, I don't know, Harvey. You know, and Harvey Dent's like, say it! That's what I want to scream. It's like, just say it. Just say it. You know? We're going to have to deal with another 12 months of false narrative nonsense. Like, I've got people on my tweets. I got people on my comments. They come into my chat and they're like, yeah, well, you know, it's a problem in the industry. Herp-a-derp-herp-herp. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what podcast did you watch? What time is it? Yeah, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. We got to go to Writer's Room. I don't want this stream being longer than 3 hours. Listen, you guys crushed it. You guys absolutely crushed it on the goal this week. Madam has to play Destiny tonight. She has to continue her journey. We'll also do community game night with you guys. All right? We're going to go to Writer's Room right now. This is something I'm going to make available to all members. We're not going to be able to do a green room this Friday, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to be on a podcast at 3 o'clock. So to me, it makes more sense to bring all of the members we got this week along for some more Writer's Room, and then I'll have more people to throw at Donnie's podcast. Does that make sense? So let's all go to Writer's Room. If you guys want to do some last-minute gifting, I'll give you like 2 minutes if you want to do some last-minute gifting to try to get Raven. So we're going to go to a Writer's Room and not green room. If you guys want to try to get Dave or Raven, a gifted member here at the very end, you know, I'll try it. I'll drop one 5-bomb. And I'll see if I can't help. If you guys get us to 625, we'll just say that I paid in advance. If you guys want to do a couple more members right now, trying to get Raven and Dave a membership. We're trying to get Raven Storm and Dave memberships. And I failed. I tried. I get there before. Yeah, Bushin, I added yours. We were at 613. I added your 5. I just didn't shout you out. Silver Subaru is going to gift one. Goes the last man standing. Thank you very much for doing that, Silver Subaru. Trying to get some of our peeps in here. Yeah, Feed's not in the member count either. P-Dub H-Town does a 5-bomb and takes us to 624. 624. And there it is. There's 625. There it is. I paid my 5 in advance. I knew you guys would answer the call here. And Behemoth is like, let's just really go for it. And he does a 20-bomb and takes us to 645. We want to see Feed. We want to see Dave Langer. We want to see Raven. We want to see them get those gifted memberships so they can come along for the ride. We do have folks right now that are not in a position to get their membership. This is why I keep telling you guys that if you can afford your own membership, please bump up. Please bump up and pick up a Member Plus membership and make room for the folks that need that gifted. Give up your seat to somebody else, right? That's why we keep saying that, because we do have people, and I'm putting my money where my mouth was. I gifted first on this little run that we're doing right now, because I know we got folks that really enjoy being a part of all the members' content. We need to start a dodgeball team for real. For real. Oh, Tenor Dude also gifted one in addition to RPG, taking us to 47. Sorry, Tenor Dude. Can't believe they're still out here dodging these gifteds. That's absolutely insane. Later, Feed. It was good to see you in the chat, Feed. I miss Friday nights the most. Yeah. And I really hope that there are people who miss out on Friday nights and can pay and be like, oh, I'm going to jump in. I missed that. And they'll make room for you. That's always kind of my hope. And another 10 members is coming in. 5 from Assumed Parasite and 5 from Detonator, taking us to 657. I now owe you guys 5 more. We are certainly scrambling at the end here to try to get some of our favorite folks back in the fold. Raven, Dave, and Feed. We are absolutely trying. YouTube tripping. Yep. I wonder if it's less likely to land on somebody who was previously paying for their own. Maybe it assumes they're going to pick it up. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Yeah, targeting gifting, man. We need targeted gifting. We've heard that it's coming. Well, no, start a new channel. Let these folks be the only subscribers and then gift them memberships. Yeah. Well, you need to be monetized. I know you're kidding, but you would need to be monetized. Five spot from Alapark. Trying to call his shots. I wonder if that's the Christopher Nolan. Somebody named Chris Nolan got one. Is that him? Does he hang out here? Possible. And one from Dino Bruce. So that's another 6. That takes us to 63. 663. Gee-many. I mean, I don't want to stop you guys. We're over 3 hours now. Doesn't really matter on these co-streams, to be quite honest. Not a lot of people going to circle back and watch these. Gwendolyn helps out. Dino Brews helps out. Thank you guys so much. He heard you reference The Dark Knight. About to make that Reforge game movie. Yeah, dude. Let's do it. Let's work together. Let's work together, Chris. A 5 spot from Behemoth. We are absolutely trying to manifest right now. 669. Nice. It should have the option to target. You can still do random, but sometimes you should be able to pick. Yeah, I agree. Mash Gifts 5 throwing some up on the board to try to get Raven and Dave. And a single from WGC. And I owe another 5 now because that bumps us to 675. Let me do the 5 that I owe. We're certainly on a run right now. I mean, we could get him. We could get him. I don't like going so far above the goal. I don't like going so far above the goal. I suppose what we could do as an incentive is that anytime you guys go crazy and do a stretch goal, I could give it to you as a surplus next week because going past 600... I appreciate what we're trying to do for Raven, Dave, and Feed. But now that we've hit all the goals for the week, I think it makes the most sense to just give you guys credit for these next week, right? I feel like we should do that. And a 20 bomb from Mash. He says, come on. Not at all. Gonna take this one lying down. And Gwendolyn says, let's do 5, so that takes us to 700. That's it. You guys have gone well past the weekly goal. Well past the weekly goal. Yeah, I'm going to give you guys credit for 100 next week because these aren't serving any purpose right now. I mean, they are. They're supporting the channel. They're trying to get these folks in, but these guys, these are going to help you more next week than they are right now. You've hit every goal of the week. So I'm going to give you guys credit for them next week. What's my game of the year so far? Probably Stellar Blade. I've liked it quite a bit. I don't think it'll win game of the year or even get a nomination, but it's been my favorite so far. I thought Black Myth Wukong was going to be mine, but they've got to completely rework their performance mode. You know? Let me, since you guys are going so crazy with members, let's see if we can't get some people to upgrade to Member Plus, because that's really what's going to help folks like Raven and Dave get a membership. We've really got to get more people to jump out of the gifted pool and jump into Member Plus if you can afford it and make room for the folks that can't. And let me go ahead here and see. We currently have 517 people at Member Plus and above. We really want to see that hit 600. We have the big, huge, lofty goal of we want 1,000 people at Member Plus and above, and I have to do a PC building stream for you. I'm doing an IRL stream tomorrow just for Member Plus and above because we hit 500. If we hit 600, I have to play some goofy dating game. Every milestone on the way to 1,000, we will celebrate. So keep upgrading to Member Plus or to VIP. Then, when you celebrate your renewal every month, it hits this goal. Like Doomslayer just renewed, but it's not a Member Plus or VIP, so I can't count it because that could be a gifted, and then that would be double dipping. So I can only count Member Pluses and VIPs for renewals in the goal, and that's another great reason to upgrade. So Doom with 20 months. Microsoft buys these studios all of a sudden. They're 30 FPS, even though they look like they could run 30 on the PS4, except for Hellblade. Thank you, Doomslayer. And then Bushin Ryu jumps in at Member Plus. Thank you. And then another 5 bomb from Gwendolyn takes us to 705. Absolutely absurd right now. What's the goal to make you hook up with the couch? 2,000 Member Plus and above. You know? Got to be something going on. This is the watch pot that never boils. We've been here before. We have. We've been here before. Yeah, Donnie. I'll do an at everyone in the Discord whenever we go live. Do you have redirect set up, Donnie? So that I can redirect to you? Let me see. Let me go to my writer's room stream and see if it will let me. Yeah, I still can't redirect, Donnie. You got to go into the background settings of that channel and let me redirect, brother. That would help so much with viewership. We'd be able to bring so many more people. I'll probably have, you know, a couple hundred people hanging out in members. Double date stream with the Avowed pair when? I mean it. They were adorable. I actually want them on a podcast, and I would totally be like, all right, come on now. How long y'all been dating? You know? I'll speak to Greg to sort. Yeah, I can help you sort it out, Donnie. I know right where to go. I know right where to set it up. It's a real simple check of a box. All right, well, I'll give you guys credit for the 105. I owe you another 5, though, because we did hit another 25. So let me do the 5 that I owe. Let me do the 5 that I owe, as long as YouTube doesn't stop me. All right, there we go. There's the 5 that I owe. Come on. Come on. No, I didn't even get one of them. I thought by now I would at least get one of them. I just found a bunch of Pop-Tarts in my Amazon cart from yesterday. It's busted. I don't think it's busted. I don't think it's busted. I just think I legit think it. I think it just literally goes through a list, and they're somewhere in the list. They are somewhere in the list. You know? We actually are close to the record number of members that we've ever had. We are 5 members away. No, I'm sorry, we're not 5 members away. We are 35 members away from 4,000 total members, but we don't really like to track that because it drops a lot, so it won't stay there for very long. That's why we do the weekly goal instead, so that you guys can work on an actual goal that's attainable. I didn't like constantly having to tell you that, yep, it dropped. Yep, it dropped. The record for members on this channel is 4,729. So, still got a ways to go if we're ever going to try and beat that record, but pretty nice. You guys have been crushing it. Greg says try now. Okay. Hang on, let me refresh, because sometimes I have to refresh the stream, the Writer's Room stream, to get the new permissions to show up. Direct. Bam! We're good. So when the members stream ends, it'll send everybody to the podcast. We good. Remember that month it was insane? Mm-hmm. What's the most you've ever gotten in a day? I will tell you, the most members we have ever done in a single day was 673. So you guys basically did almost this. That's for the whole week, and that includes renewals. Back then, 673, we didn't include Member Plus and VIP renewals. So that was just brute force, brand new, just all gifteds in a day. That was insane. And the current member count of Member Plus and above jumped to 518 because Bushin Ryu Cat jumped back in. So thank you, Bushin Ryu Cat. They ignore Reforge, guys. It runs 60 FPS most of the time on PS5. Zinthos wants to try one last time. Takes us to 706. Thank you, Zinthos. We made a valiant effort, guys. We made a valiant effort. We did. We got to go. I hate to do it, but I also don't want to belabor the point, you know? I don't want to just sit here on a public stream. You know? We got to go. We got to boogie. I feel bad, but there's nothing we can do. I can't click on a name and gift a member yet. That has not been, I don't have that ability. I literally just checked just in case. I was like, what if they added that feature, like a ghost update? We've heard that the feature's coming, but. Also, remember, there's a member stream tonight. Also, remember, stick around in the Discord. I'm going to be on a public stream in about 3 hours. Pure Dead Gaming with Donnie and the boys talking about all the stuff that have happened this week. So be sure to check that out. That'll be available to everybody. Don't forget, members, tonight, 8 hours from now, you can hang out with my wife and I. We will be playing more Destiny with her. She will be playing Destiny, not me. And then we will be doing some community game activities. Jackbox, Fall Guys, something. I'll let you guys decide that here in a moment in members. And then tomorrow, an extra special added, totally new thing that I've never done before, an IRL stream with Member Plus and above. So if you want to see that tomorrow, that is going to be exclusive for Member Plus and above to celebrate the fact that we now have 500 people at Member Plus and above. All right? Let me go ahead and put the writers' room in chat. That's where we are headed. Thanks so much for being a member, and you may have gotten a membership this week. So if this stream, if this writer's room thing hit your homepage or your notifications, you are a member to my channel for at least a month. You may have gotten a gift today from me and some many other people. So there'll be a stream tonight with my wife. If you upgrade to Member Plus, there's an extra stream tomorrow that'll be IRL. Thank you to everybody who has done that. We are at 518 people at Member Plus and above, with the big, huge goal of getting to 1,000 where I have to build a PC. So if you are paying for your own membership, or maybe you've been getting gifted for a while, consider upgrading to Member Plus. It's $6 a month, and if you're here every day, every week, that $6 a month goes a long way to not just get you into extra content, but it gets you out of the gifted pool, and it makes room for more people. I am going to end the previous stream, and I'm going to bring people over. Oh, whoops, hang on. I have to set up the redirect. It's not set up. I will fix that now. And there we go. All right. That was good. That was a good stream. That was a good turnout.